Welcome back to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, and we are live from the heart of America where the gloves are off and the truth can't be hidden anymore. Here on the Raw Feed, we don't just report the news, we dissect it with you in real time. Now, let me tell you what is coming. Antifa just confessed they're terrified. Their Corvallis cell published an after-action report admitting that Charlie Kirk's assassination blew their cover. They're losing their ability to mark conservatives for death without consequences, and President Trump just designated them domestic terrorists. And Laura Loomer is ready for the raids. We've got the receipts, and Jimmy Kimmel's career just imploded after mocking Charlie Kirk's murder. ABC suspended him indefinitely. Inside sources say he's going nuclear. But Trump called it. Bad ratings plus attacking a murdered patriot equals pink slip. The court jester learned that actions have consequences. Then, the conservative civil war explodes. Candace Owens claims powerful figures tried to control Kirk's message before his death, alleging pressure campaigns over his political positions. She's threatening to expose everything. Marita Medvin fires back that Kirk called Owens' beliefs demonic. The battle for his legacy rages while his widow grieves. And D.C. melting down as crime soars. Nancy Mace cornering Mayor Bowser with the simplest question. What is a woman? Council Chair Mendelson got exposed for defunding police and then calling them to his house. FBI Director Kash Patel torching Eric Swalwell. I call BS on your entire career. The swamp is drowning in its own lies. Yes, today marks a watershed moment in American history. On this day in 1793, George Washington laid the cornerstone of the U.S. Capitol, a symbol of our republic's strength. But 232 years later, that same Capitol is surrounded by chaos as Democrats melt down over crime statistics while the real terrorists who killed Charlie Kirk face justice. Washington built institutions to last. Today, we're watching them crumble under the weight of leftist lies. Now, what sets us apart here on the Raw Feed is we interact with you, the viewers in the live chat. We want your reaction to today's explosive news. And we are streaming to millions on YouTube, plus our Patriots on Rumble, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. So follow us on all those platforms. We need you everywhere. We will be reading your super chats and your Rumble rants between segments, featuring them on screen for the world to see. So send them in right now, even before we dive deeper. The goal, $100. Can we hit $100 tonight? I think we can, because your voice matters here, and we want to hear it. Also, share the stream right now via text message. That's right. Take out your phone, copy the link, and send it out to somebody who needs to hear this message. You help us bypass big tech's algorithm. Viewers, repost this to your followers, and if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and hit that share and send this off to your friends. If you want to support the show privately, hit those donation links in the description. Every dollar helps us expose what the mainstream media just won't touch. You can also join our YouTube channel memberships. Each level has its own perks, special acknowledgement in the chat, exclusive access to the Next News team, behind-the-scenes uploads, and our members-only 24/7 Discord. The links are below. And speaking of staying connected, download the brand new Next News Network app right now. Android users, grab it on the Google Play Store. iPhone users, hit up the App Store. The links are down in the description. And if you haven't yet, check out our merch shop, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got Alligator Alcatraz, President Otto Penn, and our American Badass series that features Charlie Kirk. So show off your favorite news source with pride. Now, today isn't just another show. It's the day that America said enough. From Antifa's terror networks to Kimmel's mockery, to the battle over Kirk's legacy, the masks are off, the money is exposed, and justice is coming. So buckle up, Patriots. This is the Raw Feed, and we are only getting started. Let's welcome you to the show. We got Shane Bouvet in the house, Kim Weig in the house, Janelle here, Fragrance Dimitri, Yo, Noble Victory, Diane Stefan, Sue Couture. Woohoo, here we go. Noble Victory, Bella Stubblefield, Michael Jones, what's up? We got Barry and Poole, Never Back Down, Karen Finley, Tamra Jennings, Cindy, Sweet Jenna Rainbows. Oh, no. I'm sorry about your friend there. Michael Gale, Andrew Williams, Eric D., Tim Trakes, E. Poe from San Diego. Refreshing the feed. And well, here we are. Fresh as ever. Yes, we needed to take the day off yesterday. Sometimes you just need a mental reset. Scooby Dragon, Scott Edwards, what's up? Ing Vibol, Than Knit, Fire Dog. We are, in fact, all Charlie Kirk. We got Frank in the house. Think at the Brink from Ohio. Alan Adkins here. Chattanooga. Don't tell my wife I tried to marry you. What? I do love Chattanooga, though. Angela Simpson, Patricia Duff, Heather Reeve. What's up, Heather? What did you say? Heather said something about TV. What did it say? Heather. Where did she say it? I just saw it here. I want to scroll it back here. Oh, well, maybe I missed it. That's okay. Who else? We got Chaney Cheho. We got Van Sang Lim. Hunt USA. Help Save the United States. Duplicate. Tammy Baker. The Workshop 706. Chattanooga. Chattanooga choo-choo. Pardon me, boy. Is that the Chattanooga choo-choo? Scooby Dragon is here. Michelle Fiacco, Rick. Redemption in a Bottle. What's up? Call me lonely. Not anymore. You're with family now. Charles in the house. Violetta. Tina Chino. Timothy. Zanetti. Stevie B 7702. Thanks for all you do. Well, thank you for joining us. Forever Fixin', Patricia Duff in the house. Queen Bee's Archive is here. Andrew Williams. Cindy says, go Bills. Jim Jersey, Black Eagle. There are some of us that are Oath Keepers. All right. Love the Oath Keepers. Heather Reeve. Let's see. He looks amazing. I can see much better. Oh, thank you, Heather. I hope you're talking about me. Oh, yeah. Rahana Singh Varik. The one and only Rhonda Don is in Utah. Snake declares Soros the real terrorist. Chris Blow. Why is Loomer looking to get rid? No. She's looking forward to the raids on all the Antifa cells. So am I, actually. George is here. Sweet Jenna Rainbows. Michael Gale. Charles Washington. UK Media Watch. What's up? We got James Sarley. Melody Lang. I really like that you tell it like it is. Thank you, Melody. Jim Jersey. What's up? We got Guy Gloat. Hey, Jimmy, they're hiring boat drivers in Venezuela. I've seen that meme. That's funny. Charles Sharp in the house. Choop Vatana. Blessed Masses here. James Sorry in Canada. I'm sorry you're in Canada. Robert Watson from the Indy 500. Sorn V. Bull on Facebook. Stephen Ramos. Mrs. Pothead Kenny. Warthog Survival. North Virginia checking in. Botham Kakata. Why the Thai soldiers treating Cambodian people like this? I heard about that. I heard they broke the ceasefire. Thank you, Gary, for all you do. I love watching your live feeds. Keep up the great work. I'm so happy to have met you at Ron Paul's 90th. Oh, we met at Ron Paul's 90th. Hi, Jennifer. Jimmy Seville. Ooh, that's creepy. That's just creepy right there. Vixen is here. You're my favorite, Gary. Uh-oh. George Gala from Idaho. R. Boyd. So, Gary, did you look into what R. Boyd, you're not going to pull me into that. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I don't believe it for a freaking second. All right? I love you, R. Boyd, but I'm not going there. Wilton. Heather. Diesel Daddy. I'm here, too. Long Island. What's up? Ramsey Schwan. What's up, Ramsey? Noble victory. Captain Clark's. Our boy's like, okay, fine. Mike Manola. Thanks for shouting out Dimitri. Big hello from Stacy and what's up, Mike? What up? Oh, it's good to see you guys here. Right on. Margot's here. Robert Watson. My wife and I don't miss a show. Well, God bless you. Our boy has seen a video of a cell phone gun. No. The text messages, the videos, I'm just not going to buy that at all. Okay? Can we just have one event that just isn't a big freaking conspiracy? Not everything is a conspiracy. It's just not. And I'm the biggest conspiracy theorist there is, guys. I am. I always question the official narrative. You have to. But in this case, there wasn't a guy off to the side shooting at Charlie. There wasn't someone doing hand signals that were secret messages to somebody. No. It just didn't happen. That's not what happened, okay? You had a lunatic on a roof who was radicalized, and it's just as simple as that. Can we just keep it simple? All right? You got a lunatic on a roof. That's it. All right, we got a lot of news to get to. And I will address some of those points later in the show when we talk about what's going on with Candace Owens and everything else. I don't normally weigh in on these topics, but again, it's all getting ridiculous. I never talk about internal squabbles within the conservative movement and within the MAGA movement. We have bigger enemies in front of us right now. But it's time to take a look at what they're saying at this moment. But that's all the air I'm going to give it. All the oxygen I'm going to give that situation. It's coming up later in the show. Okay. Chen So Davy, please help Cambodia. I am. They want me to go to Cambodia. It's not simple just because you wanted to. Okay, Bill. Why Candace? Gary needs to watch some Candace. You guys are... You know what? Here's the thing. I don't watch everybody. I don't watch Steven Crowder. I don't watch Ben Shapiro. I don't watch Candace Owens. I don't watch Alex Jones. I don't watch anybody. You know why? Because I want my opinions to be my own. And I don't want to be influenced by other influencers. Just don't. I'm my own person. Let's go. What's up, Angie baby in the house? There she is. The queen of the Next News Network has graced us with her presence. Heather Reeve Boyd, no, I don't either, but I do trust my veterans. Facts, Gary, says Steven. You guys can come at me all you want with whatever, questions. I will address them. We got our first super chat. It looks like, I think maybe our second. Lou06 dropped $1. Thank you. And Liberty Bell Lyric. Amanda is in the house, Gary. Go get him. That's what we're going to do. Gary, love the intro music. What's up? He's got a subwoofer cranking over there, watching on Rumble. Right on. Okay, I know I can sit here and hang out with you guys. I love hanging out with you guys. But, I have so much in front of me right now with all this news. Gary, just be yourself like God made you. Amen. Amen. What's up, Delinda from Washington? Myra Page in the house. All right, okay. What's my favorite movie? I don't know. Back to the Future? Okay, let's go. Wait. We got a super chat that just dropped. Captain Patriot. And she, Sasquatch took out JFK, MLK, and Charlie. Oh, Lord. Yeah, exactly. Right? Hang on, something's like in my eye here. All right, I know we're going to get started. Big news day. And you hear about Ben and Jerry's? Yeah. Okay. The terror network just blinked. After years of marking conservatives for death with zero consequences, Antifa's mask finally slipped. They published their own confession admitting that Charlie Kirk's assassination exposed their entire operation. Now they're running scared as President Trump officially designated them terrorists, domestic terrorists, and the FBI is preparing raids. But here's where it gets darker. The money trail leads straight to George freaking Soros and even foreign governments. Documents show Canadian pipelines funding these terror cells while Biden handed medals to their financiers. From coast to coast, the network that murdered Charlie Kirk is about to face the full force of American justice. This is the reckoning they feared and that we wanted. So keep on watching. Now, a word from our sponsor. Let me ask you something. If you've built up $100,000 or more in investments, do you really want it all riding on the stock market? Think about it. Banks, billionaires, even entire countries are loading up on physical gold and silver. Why? Because when markets swing, real assets hold their value. That's why I want to tell you about my friends at Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to own investment-grade gold and silver, the same kind the big players are buying. And you can actually hold it in your hand or put it safely in your retirement account. Have you seen the price of gold lately? It is skyrocketing. Look, you've worked hard to build your wealth. Isn't it time you protected it? Noble Gold is family-owned, trusted by thousands, and ranked #1 in gold IRAs 4 years in a row. Their precious metal specialists are standing by to answer all your questions and walk you through every step. Simple, safe, easy. Visit nextnewsgold.com. That's nextnewsgold.com. It's time to protect what you have built. And when you call the number on the screen, 877-646-5347, do me a favor. Tell Colin that Gary said what's up. Would you do that for me? All right. So, lots of news happening on the Antifa front. It is long, long overdue. President Trump officially designating them a terrorist organization. And here's what he said just 2 hours ago.
Agitators.
Who are they?
Well,
and where's the money coming from? Is it foreign entities?
Yeah, you're going to find out, and we're going to find out in great detail. And it surprised me that Biden wouldn't have done it because it really became hot over the last 3-4 years. It surprised me that Biden wouldn't do it. But then as I got to know him, first of all, he didn't call the shots. He wasn't calling the shots. But as we got to see what was happening in Biden's group, Antifa plays perfectly for them, absolutely perfectly. But it's a terrorist organization, in my opinion, and we're going to find out. All those questions are going to be answered. Agitators.
Just like the Ku Klux Klan were the militant arm of the racist Democrat Party in the Deep South, the Antifa movement are the brown shirts of the Democrat Party of today. Let's just call it like it is. President Trump says, we are going to find out if Soros is behind it. Oh, yes, we will. Soros is freaking out right now.
They have signs, and they're all professionally made. Real protesters make them in their basement. And they're all the same.
So who's behind it? Do you have a gut feeling?
You hear Soros. I don't know. We're going to find out if he's behind it. But it's incitement to riot. That's a criminal act. And people are dying because of it. So it's really, it's death. So we're gonna find out, and it should have been done a long time ago. They have signs, and they're all.
Oh yes, Soros is currently changing his depends as we speak. Here's more from President Trump in that interview on Fox. We are going to do a big thing with Antifa.
American flag. We're going to do a big thing with respect to Antifa. It's a sick group. Very, very sick group. We have a lot of things. They love burning the American flag. I think it's terrible that they burn the American flag. We're going in and we're saying it incites riots, and therefore you go to jail for 1 year if you burn the American flag. That's different than Antifa, but Antifa burns a lot of American flags. Because as you know, the free speech got us on the American flag. The courts have ruled free speech. So we're going to go on an incitement of riots. I saw it the other day.
Worry that this.
I saw it the other day on your show. They have an American flag, and a guy starts burning it. And the people went crazy about it, and they ended up rioting all over the place. So we think that's a reason also. And we're going into the courts with that, which is incitement. Antifa causes tremendous incitement, and the things they say and the things they do are horrible. So we're going to find out.
You said
we're going to
yeah, they
the same.
Who's behind it?
They effed around, and now they're going to find out. MJ Truth Ultra. Do you believe there's a vast terrorist movement in the United States?
Do you believe that there is a vast terrorist movement in the United States that people need to be aware of? And is it responsible for Charlie Kirk's killing, for the attempts on your life, for these CEOs that we saw in New York City? Is there something people need to understand?
You never know, and we'll find out maybe. But in the meantime, we're going to do a big thing with respect to Antifa. It's a sick group. I mean, very, very sick group. We have a lot of things. They love burning the American flag. I think it's terrible that they burn the American flag. We're going in, and we're saying it incites riots, and therefore you go to jail for 1 year if you burn the American flag. That's different than it.
Yeah. So we got this from Andy No. He says the Antifa cell in Corvallis, Oregon, has published an after-action report on the fallout from Charlie Kirk's assassination. They admit fearing the loss of their ability to mark conservatives for death with no pushback, especially as some apolitical institutions, groups, and businesses now feel safer expressing sympathy to Kirk's family and supporters. They also concede that the attacks on Sean Fuchs' Christian worship events have been a PR disaster, with cameras showing masked Antifa militants assaulting families and children at those events. To counter a possible cultural shift away from their dehumanization tactics that are mainstream on the left, Antifa suggests exploiting divisions on the right to divide and conquer, and they suggest using Israel as the wedge issue. Here is the message that was published by Andy No. He's been tracking these scumbags for a long time, been a victim of them, almost died at their hands. Anti-fascists have attempted to counter several of these rallies in Portland and Seattle, but these counters have been unequivocal and optical and tactical failures. And here is anti-fascists must work to find more creative ways to counter this political moment. One possibly using a wedge issue in this context is Israel. Addressing mobilizations like these requires careful consideration. The most similar rallies we've seen in the PNW, Pacific Northwest, have been those following homophobic evangelical preacher Sean Fuchs. Simply put, black bloc counters of what appear to be normie worship events with children in attendance is decidedly a bad look and contributes to the American conservative persecution narrative. So they recognize what they're doing is actually working against them. Josh Hawley, 24 hours ago, writes on X that George Soros invented and perfected the left's dark money playbook. All the anti-ICE riots we've seen across the country were not organic. They were carefully planned and backed by dark money. Time to prosecute. Here he is talking with Jesse Waters.
Has perfected. Yeah, so like you see LA riots, and all of a sudden some guy comes by in a vehicle delivering a whole box of commercial grade gas masks. I mean, how does someone get that into the hands of rioters that fast? And does that come from Soros? I mean, tell us where it comes from.
Well, that's what we need to find out. I'm willing to bet a lot of it does come from Soros, because Soros in particular has perfected the dark money charade, the dark money shell game, where they move it around through different entities you can't trace. But Jesse, you just think about these riots that began in L.A., that they tried to then spread to other cities that Trump is now shutting down. All of them were planned. None of these were organic, and we know because they all followed the same playbook. Same thing on campuses the last 2 years. All these campus so-called demonstrations, it's all AstroTurf. It's all fake, because the Democrat Party today is a theater troupe funded by George Soros. The problem is they're also violent. And that's what we've seen in the last week. Once again, we have got to stop the flow of the money. We've got to prosecute those who engage in violence. And we've got to shut down this attempt to divide the country, which the Democrats have been carrying on for years now.
Yeah, so like you...
George Soros in the crosshairs, as we heard last week, President Trump said RICO is on the table for George Soros. Now, if you recall, when J.D. Vance was hosting the Charlie Kirk show, Stephen Miller joined him. And they have a righteous new mission.
It's not okay. Very worried about how we got here in the first place. And you have the crazies on the far left who are saying, oh, Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance, they're going to go after constitutionally protected speech. No. We're going to go after the NGO network that foments, facilitates, and engages in violence. That's not okay. Violence is not okay in our system, and we want to make it less likely that that happens. Walk me through, at a high level, like what you and I have been working on, what the whole administration has been working on to try to make sure that we don't reward and promote this craziness.
Now, before Stephen Miller starts, what I've been actually, I was talking with Tom McCullough, who is one of our White House correspondents. I was with him earlier today, and I was thinking to myself, how do we counter this? How do we get to the bottom of it? And I suddenly was reminded of the McCarthy hearings of the 1950s that created a lot of panic and paranoia. And I said, is there something like that can be done today, but with respect to the communist Marxist infiltration that is currently embedded within the United States, but not encounter the same pitfalls that McCarthy era concluded with? And really, you need to have like a special committee in Congress with subpoena power to haul in all of the heads of these NGOs, dig into their bank records, follow the money, haul George and Alex Soros right before the committee, and make them testify under oath. Now, they're going to have enough plausible deniability. Oh, we just gave money to here and here and here. But, of course, they're giving money to shell corporations, shell nonprofits that just distribute the money quietly to all these different groups. However, you got to follow the money. And that's exactly when I was talking to Tom. He's like, J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller were just talking about this. I said, this is great. So I wanted to find this clip, and I want to present it to you because we need to put this out there. We need to reinforce what they're saying here, because we do need to have a special commission in the House to follow this with subpoena power to hold these people accountable that can refer individuals to the Department of Justice for prosecution.
Yes, so it's an excellent question. I said this before, but it bears repeating. The last message that Charlie sent me was, I think it was just the day before we lost him, which is that we need to have an organized strategy to go after the left-wing organizations that are promoting violence in this country. And I will write those words onto my heart, and I will carry them out. The people ask me, what emotions I'm feeling right now, and this is something people say. I mean, you kind of know the answer. There's incredible sadness, but there's incredible anger. And the thing about anger is that unfocused anger or blind rage is not a productive emotion.
Right.
But focused anger, righteous anger, directed at just cause is one of the most important agents of change in human history.
Charlie showed that. Amen.
And we are going to channel all of the anger that we have over the organized campaign that led to this assassination to uproot and dismantle these terrorist networks. So let me explain a little bit what that means. So,
I've got 30 seconds, so be quick, Stephen.
The organized doxing campaigns, the organized riots, the organized street violence, the organized campaigns of dehumanization, vilification, posting people's addresses, combining that with messaging that's designed to trigger and incite violence, and the actual organized cells that carry out and facilitate the violence, it is a vast domestic terror movement. And with God as my witness, we are going to use every resource we have at the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks and make America safe again for the American people. It will happen, and we will do it in Charlie's name.
Thank you, Stephen. Don't go away. I'll be joined by a guest of...
Amen. We will do it in Charlie's name. So right now, you're hearing the executive branch action. We need to have a parallel legislative branch action doing the same thing, so they can refer the criminal referrals to the Department of Justice. And of course, today, Antifa officially declared a terrorist domestic terrorist organization. Long overdue. Antifa, now designated a terrorist group. It's about time, Toma says. This violence they have brought to our country is coming to an end. Justice is coming to stop the violence they have conducted. Look at all of those mugshots. Organized domestic terrorists. And I'll bet you all of those folks got let out, no cash bail, or, Kamala Harris is sending out text messages to raise money for their bail. It's one or the other. Laura Loomer weighing in. I love it. She says, I can't wait to see armed raids on Antifa members by the feds. I cannot wait. She says, get on the floor, bitch. Hell yeah. That's a repost from me, Laura. DC Drano says, I'll be honest. It's completely unacceptable that Antifa has been allowed to exist this long. Yeah. They wear black uniforms with face masks and shields. They have centralized communication, recruitment policies, and financing. They were brought here by foreign agents in 2017, he says. They are violent paramilitary terrorists. Yeah, look at them right there. Violent paramilitary terrorists. And they're standing behind the communist hammer and sickle on that shield. ACAB, if you don't know what that means, it means all cops are bastards. That's, whenever you see that posted anywhere, that's what it means. Andy, no. 19 hours ago, expect a lot of liberal and left-wing media propaganda the next few days about Antifa. Oh, yes, it's going to happen. He says they will say the movement doesn't organize into groups and that those involved are peaceful. Racial justice activists simply opposed to fascism. Don't let them get away with lying. Clandestine writes, the left are once again gaslighting the public, claiming Antifa does not exist. Remember? We got a clip. I remember when Trump brought it up and Biden's like, oh, no, it's just an idea. The left are once again gaslighting the public, claiming Antifa does not exist. They think we forgot about the blue-haired trans furry kids burning city streets down and attacking federal buildings for years. The Dems are begging you not to believe your own eyes. Yeah, here you go. Here's some of them right here. Look at them all. These are terrorists now. Finally. Andy No says American Antifa are almost entirely a domestic network, but they do maintain links with Antifa in Canada and Europe. Secretary of State Marco Rubio should consider declaring the international manifestations of Antifa as foreign terrorist entities to the United States government. In 2021, German Antifa took over Leipzig city center and then carried out mass attacks on the public to try to intimidate judges and prosecutors handling a criminal case involving their violent members. They do the same in France and in other countries, and he posts this video of Antifa in a foreign city, all carrying black umbrellas with black smoke billowing. This is a very well-organized and well-funded international terror network. And here are two of the Democrats' biggest donors. Photo 1, two of the Democrats' biggest donors. Photo 2, two of the terrorist organization Antifa's biggest funders. Oh, and what's this? Both pictures are George and Alex Soros. Come at me, bitch. Who else? Antifa Watch. It appears that the child of Democrat House Minority Whip Catherine Clark was arrested for assaulting police as part of an Antifa event in Boston last night. Now, I'll let you know that this post was made January 22nd of 2023. Jared Riley Dowell allegedly graffitied Stop Cop City and assaulted police while resisting arrest. The offspring of your Democrat Party. Right there. Does that face look like a peaceful, happy, simple protester to you? love and flowers and peace. No. This is the face of evil. Demonic, possessed evil. Oh, yeah, baby. Party time. What about this? Remember this? I love C3. This is one of my favorite follows on X. Wait until we find out one of Biden's final acts was awarding the man funding Antifa the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Soros and the Open Society Foundation are responsible for decades of political violence. Leftist political violence was protected and awarded. Here's the moment that the Presidential Medal of Freedom was awarded to George Soros, and he was just too sickly to show up at the White House, apparently, so Alex Soros had to accept on his behalf.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to George Soros. Born into a Jewish family in Hungary, George Soros escaped Nazi occupation to build a life of freedom for himself and countless others around the world.
And I should add, personally, to destabilize governments around the world, including the United States. Look at Hillary Clinton sitting in the background, wearing her Medal of Freedom. They should be handing out handcuffs to these people. Oh, who can ever forget this picture? Here's a friendly reminder that the Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, is a big fan of Antifa. Remember when he posted this picture? I will never forget that. Baked Alaska posting 18 hours ago, "Excuse me, FBI, I'd like to report an Antifa domestic terrorist who needs to be immediately arrested and deported. His name is Hassan the Hun. He's currently crying and pissing under his bed sheets right now. Thank you for your attention to this matter." I don't know who this person is, but apparently Baked Alaska knows who this is. Looks like maybe some kind of streamer. He's got a big microphone, but he's got an Antifa poster in the background or an Antifa album. Oh, but of course the t-shirt tells a different story. Anti-fascist. Oh, yeah. You guys are so above us all. You're anti-fascists. And then when they go ahead and they label us all fascists, justifies their attacks on everybody, including Charlie Kirk. Remember what was etched on the bullet? Hey, fascist, catch. And of course, the left doesn't want you to think that Taylor Robinson was just, he wasn't a leftist, not at all. No. And we have this legal mindset. Finding out the Canadian government is funding Antifa is wild and strengthens the argument for classifying Antifa, or at least foreign cells of Antifa, as foreign terrorist organizations. Foreign funds flowing to acts of terrorism which undermines U.S. national security. Legal Mindset, host of Legal Mindset, lawyer law in Bangkok, Thailand, I guess. YouTube channel. Let's see what he's got to say here.
Federally, this is a big one, and this just came out today. Canada, Trudeau and Canada is funding Antifa. You can't make this up. Discord chat platform scrutinized in Kirk assassination used Canadian leftist networks to circulate political target files. Lawyer alleges federally funded Canadian anti-hate network has aided Antifa-aligned groups that are compiling private dossiers on citizens via Discord. You cannot make this stuff up. Canada, Trudeau, is funding Antifa. This proves the element of foreign support. And as much as we may not view our Canadian brothers as foreign, that is a foreign country. And we are not obliged to support the radical leftist views of Canada. And you're trying to support American far-left organizations, right? That is a big deal. This is a massive deal. And I think it's more than enough justification to do this. By the way, they get a lot of money from Germany, too. Germany sends a lot of money to Antifa. There's a lot of foreign money coming in. And that's huge because stopping the money flow is the best thing that this does. Let's talk about that. This is the authority that they used to designate the cartels. Look at this. You can literally replace the word cartel with Antifa and just copy paste the word Antifa over cartel, and this works. Let's read this for a second. Okay? This order creates a process by which certain, let's say Antifa, right, and other organizations will be designated as FTOs, right, or specifically global terrorists consistent with AIPA, right? International cartels, let's replace this with Antifa. Antifa constitutes a national security threat beyond that posed by traditional organized crime. That's true. Convergence between Antifa and a range of extra-hemispheric actors from designated foreign terrorist organizations to antistic foreign governments. This is true. This is true. And I hate to say it, but even Canada, if they're helping, they're an antagonistic foreign government. I'm sorry. You know, once again, I love Canadians. That's nothing against Canadians, but it's against the government, right? The government is acting as an antagonistic foreign government. If they are funding radical groups that are engaging in terrorism in the United States.
Oh, and that day is over now, my friends. It is far from over. This is the official statement from the White House. I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots I'm designating Antifa, a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster, as a major terrorist organization. The White House presenting the official statement from the President of the frickin' United States from his Truth Social account. This is Ted Cruz encouraging the FBI Director Kash Patel not just go after those who aided and abetted Charlie Kirk's assassination, but follow the money. This was from that explosive hearing, oversight hearing, just 48 hours ago.
I want to encourage you in the course of this investigation, absolutely go after anyone who aided and abetted. But I want to more broadly encourage you, follow the money.
Yeah.
The violence we are seeing is not purely organic. There is, I believe, significant money that is spreading dissension, that is spreading violence. Antifa. Do you believe Antifa is a terrorist organization?
I believe Antifa is associated with a lot of violence in this country. As to its designation, I'll leave that to the appropriate authorities.
So I would encourage the administration to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization, to go systematically after Antifa. They've committed acts of violence all over the country.
And 48 hours later, Antifa is designated a terrorist organization. Let's flash back to 2020, shall we? Trump warned that Antifa was a radical left-wing militant group, and Joe Biden claimed Antifa was not a real organization, just an idea. The Dems not only try to cover up their brown shirts, the Dems and Antifa are the same entity.
Here's tonight. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left.
FBI Director.
This is a left-wing
problem. White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his FBI. FBI director said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next. We're moving.
When a bat hits you over the head, that's not an idea.
Everybody in your administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no ideas.
Antifa is a dangerous,
all right,
radical
gentlemen,
group.
we're now moving.
Somebody's got to do.
And now in 2025, Antifa officially designated as a terrorist organization. You saw Joe Biden say, it was your own FBI director. Oh, was it? Oh, we're talking about Christopher Wray? Yeah, that guy wasn't compromised, part of the deep state establishment. Please. Your FBI director. Jack Posobiec weighing in on the announcement today.
Antifa, but we're here on a mission because we've got work to do. President Trump has made the announcement, executive order will be forthcoming. Antifa is to be designated a domestic terrorist organization. Now, of course, the same ridiculous voices on the left are running around telling you there's no such thing as Antifa. Antifa doesn't exist. Antifa is just a figment of some right-wing imagination, some right-wing fever dream. Well, that's very interesting because, you see, I've got thousands upon thousands of hours of video, of documentary evidence, of network information that we put out into an entire book. I wrote about the Antifa, stories from within the Black Bloc in 2021. I infiltrated Chaz in 2020. I was there when Raz Simone loaded his 9mm. I was racing against people, drawing weapons in the midst of all of this. Gone up against Antifa time and time and time again. So today we're going to talk all about the Antifa. Who are
they? Well, now they are domestic freaking terrorists. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, this is not just another Washington scandal. This is the systematic unmasking of a terror network that operated with impunity for years. When Antifa admits they're losing their power to mark conservatives for death, that is not speculation. That's their own confession in black and white. They know Charlie Kirk's assassination changed everything. No more free passes. No more looking the other way while they terrorize American cities. The money trail from Soros to the Canadian pipelines proves this was never grassroots. This was AstroTurf soaked in blood money. Democrats gave medals to their funders while calling us fascists. Keith Ellison held their handbook. Catherine Clark's kid got arrested at the riots. Elizabeth Warren posing with their leaders. The evidence is overwhelming, so here's my question. Should foreign funding of domestic terror groups be prosecuted as treason? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. Let's continue this conversation. And while you're fired up, check out our Next News merch shop. It's linked down below. Show them whose side that you're on. Wow. Thanks, guys, for coming through. So many super chats. God bless you guys. We got Lou06, Liberty Bell Lyric, Captain Patriot, Dan Thompson, I Am Charlie Kirk, Heather Reeve becoming a member, Dan Thompson becoming a member, Scooby Dragon becoming a member, Lou06 dropping another $2. God bless Gary. God is with you and your family. Amen. Thank you. Tony Houston dropping $2. He said, I said it. Sneaks dropping $50. Best up-to-date news on the internet. Thank you, brother, for the hard work you put in to bring us this latest news. Hoorah! Well, I wouldn't be able to do it without my team. Brian Roberts, who's been with me for like 20 years, and our new producer who's been with us for, I don't know, how long has it been, Todd? I work with Todd every day. He helps bring all this information together. How long has it been, Todd? Since Trump's first day in office. Was that right? Well, that's awesome. So, 6-7 months now. And then we got this Inhuman Condition dropping 20. Just saying thank you, Gary, for everything you do. I watch every day. What's up? Dan Thompson says, you people, LOL. Kiwi Seeking the Truth dropped 5 New Zealand bucks. He says, George S. admitted in an interview he lied to the Jews, stole from them, and helped round them up in the trains that led them to their death. Yes, I heard that interview. I remember that interview. Liberty Bell becoming a member, and Squeeze a Lot dropping 10. Good evening, Gary and Anthony family. Memphis law enforcement has started ramping up. Heard from a friend, military vehicles were arriving. Stay safe, all. Amen. We're now at $104 already, and we're only after our first topic of the evening. We're going to move into our next topic because we're going to talk about what's going on, the fallout from poor Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, poor Jimmy. Yeah, the left melting down as, like, right on cue. We've got all the glorious meltdowns, some of my reactions to some of our elected leaders on X. If you haven't followed us yet there, you need to. This is just glorious, glorious, glorious. Okay, let's move right into it, Brian. The political establishment's in full meltdown mode over Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. Eric Swalwell ran to the cameras claiming it should shake every American that a comedian got fired. Chuck Schumer demanded the FCC chair resign immediately. The panic is real, and it's revealing. Why are Democrats losing their minds over a late-night host who mocked a murdered patriot? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Kimmel was their attack dog. And now that attack dog has been put down. Inside sources say he's going nuclear, and he's furious over ABC's decision. But here's what they won't tell you. This was actually brewing for months. Bad ratings, bad comedy, and finally crossing the line by dancing on Charlie Kirk's grave. The regime just lost their court jester. Keep on watching. And while Hollywood elites like Kimmel age terribly under the pressure of their failing careers, there's something that actually helps fight the aging process. A 2025 survey found over half of U.S. adults are concerned about how fast their skin is aging. And 40% fixate on random wrinkles or dark spots. If that sounds like you, you're not alone. More and more people are noticing visible changes in their skin far earlier than expected. That's why I use my secret anti-aging weapon. I'm obsessed with the changes I've noticed in my skin. It provides my skin with 5 must-have types of premium collagen needed to help reduce wrinkles. Since taking it, I've experienced smoother skin, more elasticity, fewer fine lines, and a more youthful glow. Plus, it mixes smoothly with my morning coffee. No taste or clumps. Be sure to grab a bag of ageless multi-collagen before this segment's over. Get it 51% off at healthwithgary.com. Help takes years off the clock. Plus, by ordering now, you're guaranteed to get free VIP life and health fitness coaching for life, a free ebook titled 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, free shipping. Once again, that website is healthwithgary.com. You'll find a link below. And we thank them for supporting this program. President Trump on Air Force One just a few hours ago. He was confronted with the question about Jimmy Kimmel. Gavin Newsom, of course, actually posted the clip, which is funny. Gavin Newsom says, "We can't normalize this. He's not going to stop."
That's something that should be talked about for licensing, too. When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump, that's all they do. If you go back, I guess they haven't had a conservative on in years or something, somebody said. But when you go back and you take a look, all they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that. They're an arm of the Democrat Party. Thank you, everybody. Look,
yeah, for years, I stopped watching late night shows. I really did. They used to be funny. They used to be great. You know, comedy hit on all sides. It wasn't one-sided. I mean, now Stephen Colbert, he's been shown the door. Jimmy Kimmel's been shown the door. And Trump's right. See, these are broadcast airwaves. They have to have a license to operate on those airwaves, and they have to perform for the public interest. But when you're spreading straight up lies to the American people, that goes against the public interest. That's the law. All right? The FCC, we got clips, like multiple clips here from the FCC chairman, okay, Brandon Carr, discussing these points. Before we get to that, though, Keith Olbermann. Oh, man. If there's one guy who's just an unhinged lunatic, it's Keith Olbermann. This is what he posted 19 hours ago. Disney, Bob Iger, ABC prostitute themselves for Trump. Kimmel off the air for truth-telling about Charlie Kirk's hate speech. MAGA exploitation of his death. Kirk died because he lived in the violent madness of Trump's America. That's Keith Olbermann.
In this country, now that we can say with some certainty that if Tyler Robinson indeed shot Charlie Kirk, he shot him for personal reasons because he saw Kirk as a direct threat to somebody he loved. That Robinson was not a stochastic proxy murderer from Antifa or the Groypers or the right-wingers who had so recently called Kirk a fraud, like Laura Loomer. It is then also clear that there is truly only one person whose words created, amplified, mainstreamed, and manufactured this nightmarish environment that has led to Charlie Kirk's death. The leading threat in this country, in this moment, to the safety and the lives of conservatives and Republicans and MAGA commentators and politicians and civilians is not George Soros, and it's not Antifa, and it's not a Democrat, nor a liberal, nor a socialist, nor an immigrant, nor a transgendered person. The leading threat in this country, in this moment, to the safety and the lives of conservatives and Republicans and MAGA is
Keith Olbermann. Now get on your knees and do your job. Okay? Because my shoes need polishing, Keith. I don't even know how this guy can look himself in the mirror at night. How does he go to sleep? You and I have seen the rhetoric for years and years and years. The dehumanization, the amplification of hate, the demands for confrontation. We've played those clips over and over and over again. And for this clown to try to say that it's Donald Trump, I don't know what planet he's on. He's just a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. But on the lighter side of the news, J.D. Vance posting this. Can you see what it says? Let me see if I can get a better shot for you. J.D. Vance, everyone please congratulate Marco Rubio, the new host of ABC's Late Night Show. Oh, J.D. Vance is starting to get a little funny. Speaking of losers, we've got this guy, Don Lemon. Remember him? His ass got canned, too. Apparently, he was on Piers Morgan. trying to maintain some relevance. If you recall the other day, he was claiming that MAGA influencers were exploiting Charlie Kirk's death for clicks. How dare you? How freaking dare you? We lost one of our own, you sick son of a bitch. And you're going to tell me I'm making videos for clicks? You're out there on the street provoking people, trying to lead them with framed questions. You're the sick son of a bitch who's out there chasing the clicks, trying to capitalize on Charlie Kirk's assassination. Pardon me. I get a little worked up sometimes. But here's Don Lemon getting pissed off at Piers Morgan for showing him the clip that got him fired. Now, I'm not a big fan of Piers Morgan, but, he's been hosting some pretty good stuff lately. So I want to give him some credit. Let's enjoy this moment, shall we? Don Lemon getting confronted with the clip that got his ass fired.
Yeah, that's why
this is what led to you leaving CNN. Let's take a look at the clip.
She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't.
Okay. All right. Watch his expression. I caught it right as the camera, just before it cut away to the clip. Well, I'm going to put it in slow motion because I want you to see this frame by frame. I'm putting it at 25% speed. I'm going to mute it so you don't hear it. Just watch. Okay, Piers Morgan is he's saying, all right, let's play the clip. Don Lemon looking down, looking away, and he's like, getting ready to look. That is the look of shame. God, I wish I had that frame shot. Oh, where is it, please? Can we get it? Can we? Wait. Oh, okay. He's about to look up at a screen that's going to show the clip. Up. Oh yeah. Don Lemon. Okay, so we've seen this clip before, but it's always a beautiful moment when we can relish in the time that this scumbag was taken off CNN, just like so many other scumbags.
led to you leaving CNN? Let's take a look at the clip.
She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another.
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that.
When you watch that, Don, I happened to be watching that live, and I was like, "Whoa, what did you just say?" What do you? I mean, if you had a do-over, would you say that again? I mean, what led you to say that?
Okay, Piers, let me just say this. I'm going to answer your question, but just so the audience knows, and I hope you don't cut this out, when I asked you what subjects you wanted to talk about, you know what you said to me? You said, I want to talk to you about freedom of speech in America and the response to Charlie Kirk's death.
Yeah.
Not once did you mention that we were going to talk about CNN or whatever. So, and had I known that, I probably wouldn't have accepted this interview. You have invited me on many times, and I tell you, Piers, I know you. I would come on your show, but I don't do panels. And so when you said I'm not going to be involved in a panel, I agreed to come on your show. But I thought you would also stick by the subjects that you told me that you were going to talk about.
Just to be clear,
rather than try to ambush me with something.
Just to be clear,
so,
you and I
yes.
haven't. Well, Don, just to be clear, you and I haven't had any conversation about your appearance here. You're talking about my team talking to you.
Yeah, no, and I saw you, Piers, in a restaurant, and I said, hey, Piers, good to see you. Yeah. I would come on your show, but I don't do panels.
Right.
And I said the same thing to your bookers.
There's only one of you,
And so when
Don.
I asked you, and right, okay, and so, yes. And
okay, Don. Who cares, man? You're still a loser. Speaking of losers, CNN and Brian Stelter are absolutely melting down after ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel off the air. Nick Sortor writes, we've sent the left into a total tailspin. Charlie would be so proud of us.
About job.
Go ahead. I'm interested because are they sending everyone home? You know, what's happening on the scene? You know, the show would have been taping within the next hour. So people would be there. Yes, this is very abrupt, very abrupt.
And this is all about jawboning. It's all about public pressure. You know, actually revoking FCC licenses is extremely difficult. I wrote about this last fall when candidate Donald Trump was talking on the campaign trail about wanting to punish stations by taking away their licenses. And throughout the history of the country, ever since we've had broadcast television, license revocations are extraordinarily rare. Once you've got one, you're pretty much guaranteed to keep it. So the threat is not that the FCC is actually going to take away a license. It's about the public noise. It's about the shame and embarrassment. It's about Brendan Carr going on podcasts and embarrassing ABC. You know, there's a
let him embarrass the shit out of ABC. All right, but see, it was ABC's decision, not Brandon Carr's, not Donald Trump's. Okay, just like all the leftists who are out there losing their jobs for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. That's what just happened in real time to Jimmy Kimmel. So what is Brandon Carr saying? Trump's FCC chair, they are facing the consequences of the choices they made. If you have a license from the FCC, we expect you to serve the public interest. Oh, and he's been making the rounds. He's been making the rounds. Let's check this out. This is one of his hits on Fox.
Again, you can do the same thing with Kimmel. They're now facing the consequences of the choices that they made to appeal to a very, very narrow audience. Again, you can do that. You can start a podcast. You can go on YouTube. But if you're going to have a license from the FCC, we expect you to broadly serve the public interest. Same thing with Kimmel.
And that's why we're on YouTube. Here is the Trump FCC chair, Brandon Carr, threatening ABC and Disney over Kimmel's Charlie Kirk comments with Benny Johnson.
Work for the FCC. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, you know, there's going to be additional work for the FCC. Again, there's actions that we can take on licensed broadcasters. And frankly, I think that it's really sort of past time that a lot of these licensed broadcasters themselves push back on Comcast and Disney and say, listen, we are going to preempt. We are not going to run Kimmel anymore until you straighten this out, because we licensed broadcaster, are running the possibility of fines or license revocations from the FCC if we continue to run content that ends up being a pattern of news distortion. So,
and that's exactly what it is. Distortion, lies. And that is what Jimmy Kimmel presented. Here he is again on CNBC, FCC Chair Brandon Carr. Jimmy Kimmel is no Johnny Carson. And you know what's so sad is I used to really enjoy Jimmy Kimmel. I used to enjoy his show. He was a funny guy. And the minute Trump got into office, everything changed. They all became late-night losers. Let's listen to what he has to say on CNBC.
He's not. My colleagues are remembering, though, the times of Johnny Carson. Now, again, to that point, Chairman, I mean, you know, the administration in power was typically the subject of most of his jokes, as would seem to be the case now. I mean, these are comedians we're talking about. This is not the news.
Well, look, I can tell you, Jimmy Kimmel is no Johnny Carson. And the issue that arose here where lots and lots of people were upset was not a joke. It was not, you know, making fun or pillaring me or the administration or the president. It was appearing to directly mislead the American public about a significant fact of probably one of the most significant political events we've had in a long time. It's really the most significant political assassination we've seen in a long time. And so I think
my colleagues were...
He was specifically misleading the American public. It was not satire. It was not a joke. It was a direct statement designed to deceive the American people. Sinclair Media says they will air a special remembrance of Charlie Kirk during Jimmy Kimmel's time slot on Friday. Here's the official statement from Sinclair Media Group. Now, Adam Schiff decided, of course, to weigh in. I wish he was weighing in from his prison cell. However, that has not happened yet. We're still praying for that moment of justice for the American people, for pencil neck Adam Schiff's deceit and lies. But, so Adam Schiff, he wrote this. Kimmel, Colbert, suits against the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and 60 Minutes, extorting settlements from CBS, ABC, and others, blocking the AP's access to the White House. This administration is responsible for the most blatant attacks on the free press in American history. What will be left of the First Amendment when he's done? Oh, Adam Schiff. I mean, I'm not going to go really point by point here to refute all this stuff because it's really too easy. But, of course, you guys remember the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris, things getting edited out of context, false articles being published in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, everything. Come on, guys. We don't need, I mean, you and I, we've covered this. You guys have been here. You've seen it. So I replied to this scumbag. Said, Adam, you crying about the First Amendment is rich. In 2019, you wrote letters pressuring Google and Facebook to bury vaccine content you didn't like. During COVID, you pushed platforms to throttle dissent, much of which later turned out to be true. In 2022, you leaned on Twitter after Musk took over because the wrong voices were getting reach, and you floated gutting Section 230, which would force platforms to censor more speech. You weren't defending free expression, you were silencing Americans. So I just gave you the examples of when Adam Schiff worked against the First Amendment. But he wasn't alone. James Woods posting this meme, a picture of Jimmy Kimmel picking lettuce. But who will pick our crops? Here's my response to Gavin Newsom. So Gavin Newsom decided that he was going to actually try to use Brandon Carr's own words against him. I just played you some of those clips. Brandon Carr on 3 different news outlets. And Gavin Newsom takes a screenshot of a previous post of Brandon Carr and says, "This aged well." So what did he say? President Biden is right. These are the words of Brandon Carr, May 2nd of 2022. President Biden is right. Political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. It challenges those in power while using humor to draw more people into the discussion. That's why people in influential positions have always targeted it for censorship. And I just had to correct the governor. Kimmel wasn't doing satire, Gavin. He was flat out lying. He smeared Charlie Kirk's murder as MAGA, when in reality the killer was a radical leftist. There's a big difference between comedy and spreading disinformation to protect your side. Oh, and Gavin, this is satire courtesy of Mr. Reagan.
Parody video. Hi, I'm Gavin Newsom, and I'm definitely not gay. A lot of people are criticizing me for banning AI-generated political videos. So let me explain. The problem is that Democrats, like me, we're not the brightest bulbs in the tanning bed. We can't always distinguish between reality and fiction. When Elon Musk posted Mr. Reagan's brilliant Kamala Harris parody video, I thought that was real. And so I realized, without laws governing what we are allowed to see and hear, how will we ever know what's really true? If I don't ban Mr. Reagan's AI parody videos, how would we ever know that Trump will be a dictator on day one, or that if he doesn't win, he's promised a bloodbath? How would we know that...
That's satire, Gavin. Shout out to Mr. Reagan for that glorious piece. Oh, and Governor Pritzker. I didn't have time to respond to him. He said a free and democratic society cannot silence comedians because the president doesn't like what they say. This is an attack on free speech and cannot be allowed to stand. All elected officials need to speak up and push back on this undemocratic act. Again, Jimmy Kimmel was not presenting comedy in that moment. He was presenting deceit and lies to the American people. Okay? That's what it was. And Governor Pritzker is particularly pissed because he was on Jimmy Kimmel's show just a few months back in May. You see, Governor Pritzker needs Jimmy Kimmel at that desk because Governor Pritzker has presidential aspirations. He needs a safe place to go to spread his own brand of deceit. So, of course, Governor Pritzker is sad that his best friend, his sounding board of lies, just got the axe. Now, to be clear, ABC said this was indefinite. How long is that going to last? I'm not sure. I'm hoping that it's in perpetuity. I hope they can find somebody who actually can stand up and deliver real comedy. And you know what? I don't care. I'm certainly fine with taking a few jabs on conservative perspectives. But can you make it funny and balanced? Because when all you do is go after one side, it gets kind of old and people turn it off. I mean, I would tune in if you were taking jabs at Pelosi and Schumer and Newsom and Pritzker and Trump and Kash. All right? Because I can take a joke. But when it's all one-sided, it just becomes an attack piece. I mean, back in the day, the late-night hosts, they could balance their humor. But not anymore. Here's President Trump telling why Jimmy Kimmel was fired. And this is when Trump was overseas with the Brits in the United Kingdom.
He was fired. Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else. And he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent. Well, Jimmy...
He was fired for lack of talent. Jamie... posting this reply to Governor Pritzker. Read his contract, Mr. Pritzker. ABC made the decision. No one was coerced. The White House didn't make the call. If they had such power, a heck of a lot more would be unemployed. You're pushing lies, inciting extremists, rather than addressing why Kimmel was suspended. Curtis Houck, posting this from Joseph Moreno, burst the liberal bubble on CNN about Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. This on CNN.
Republican as you're going to get. I don't think this is a legal issue. I don't think this can be pointed to the FCC or the Trump administration and say, well, this is about them going after Kimmel because of what he said. Personally, I think it's more of a cultural issue. And I got to tell you, look, I'm about as moderate a Republican as you're going to get. I'm from New York. I have not been comfortable watching late night television for 15 years because when you have conservative leanings and you're constantly mocked and you constantly feel like you're doing something wrong, you shut it off. You don't watch it anymore. And then what happens is it's circular. If the host doesn't have that audience, the host doesn't worry about keeping an audience like that. It goes in circles, and at some point, you get things like this where you say...
You know what? How crazy. That's exactly what I just said. Here's Sean Hannity weighing in on Pritzker and Newsom, as I just did. Now, I haven't seen this clip yet. Let's see what Hannity's take is.
Conservative. Now, the left already, starting with Humpty Dumpty, fake news, CNN, J.B. Pritzker, Gavin Newsom, predictably claiming this is conservative censorship. The MAGA crowd, Donald Trump got Jimmy Kimmel. That is false. I can't find a single prominent conservative voice in the country that even remotely wanted or hoped or was pushing to get Jimmy Kimmel taken off the air. Nobody, it just was simple. People changed the channel. They didn't.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't think you can go back into my archives and actually find me declaring that Jimmy Kimmel should be taken off the air. I don't believe I've ever said that. Maybe I have. Maybe I haven't. But at the same time, Hannity's right. Change your channel. Don't watch. I mean, I don't even have time to watch these losers. Okay? I'm gonna fight for this country. And I'm not even going to give them the airtime on my television. If anything, I'm going to spend that time with my family. Okay? Scott Jennings on CNN. Do I defend Jimmy Kimmel going on television and saying a shooter from the left?
Professor, and you use the phrase propaganda, Professor, and I just have to ask you, what do you consider what Jimmy Kimmel was doing every night or what Stephen Colbert was doing by having on only Democratic guests? Jimmy Kimmel Monday night flat lied about the shooter. Back in the spring, he egged his audience on in cheering on the violence against and wanting, kind of wishing, I think, the downfall of a publicly traded company, Tesla. Do you consider that to be propaganda? Is it good for a business?
Do you consider that to be free speech, Scott?
You use the phrase propaganda.
I'm asking you. You used the words free speech before. Do you consider that free speech?
I consider it to be speech, and he's obviously free to say it.
Will you defend that speech in this country that will defend to the death the speech of others? Will you defend Jimmy Kimmel's speech?
Do I defend Jimmy Kimmel going on television and saying that a shooter from the left...
Do you defend his right to do so?
He has a right to do so, but he does not have a right to have a television show where he lies his ass off to the American people and attacks this country on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, Scott. Comedian Pete Dominick joins the lefties melting down over ABC's decision to pull Kimmel. Again, of course, on CNN.
Being with us, were Kimmel's comments enough, do you think, to get him suspended? Or do you think this was more of a business decision about the profitability of late night shows?
Neither. And we need to stop asking those questions with all due respect, Boris. If we covered the campaign, if you read Project 2025, if you know Brendan Carr, if you understand what the Trump administration has been wanting to do, this is part of their game plan. They're using the assassination of Charlie Kirk to destroy careers of teachers, educators, board members, anybody who speaks out and says anything that they don't like. This has
Actually, no, it's not President Trump. It's not. See, what's happening here is people are actually going online and they're posting outrageous statements celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. And people who have had enough of it are finding out who those people are, finding out where they work, and getting those people fired. You are free to say whatever you want. But remember, speech has consequences. End of story. So Kimmel was free to say what he said, and ABC was free to send his ass packing. Are you with me on this? So when you got this comedian Pete Dominick melting down, like it's so predictable. This was the big plan of Project 2025 from the beginning. This is Project 2025 in action. So I guess by your logic, it was ABC News that picked up the Heritage Foundation's documents and said, wait a second, turn to page 352. Yeah, right there. That's where it says, the next time Jimmy Kimmel steps out of line, you fire his ass. So ABC took that from Project 2025 and executed the plan. No, that's not the case. But they would have you believe that to be the case. Like they want you to think that like Donald Trump and like Brandon Carr walked into ABC's offices with a Project 2025 book and said, here you go. See, it says right here on this page, you must follow our dictates. Right here. Ah, fire him now. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Kimmel freaking lied to America in a monologue, and now there's consequences. And the sad part is all those people that show employed. Think about all of those people. You got regular folks, camera operators, grips, graphic designers, set dressers, audio technicians. I'm sure they're going to go find another show to work on. But what's going to happen to Guillermo? Where's he going to get a job at now? I guess he'll just have to go do security at Colbert Show. Oh, actually, no. Colbert got his ass fired, too. Okay, Bill O'Reilly. Let's see what Bill O'Reilly's saying. Oh, it's so funny. How funny is it, though, that he's on News Nation with Fredo Cuomo, who is also fired from CNN. Oh, okay. Let's see what Bill O'Reilly is talking about with Fredo.
Know that. What Kimmel did is inexplicable to me. And maybe he'll come on your show and explain it to you or my show, the No Spin News. He had to know on Monday in his dialogue how raw the country was over this assassination of Charlie Kirk. He had to know that. And to use his monologue, which is usually comedic, to mislead the entire country by implying that MAGA Trump supporters were really behind the murder. To do that, I'm saying you have a battery of writers, you have a producer on your program. Did no one red flag you on this? Did no one say anything about this? This isn't about censorship, all right? This is about responsibility. And as you pointed out correctly, every corporation has a responsibility to make sure the product it is selling is an honest product.
It's just hearing Bill O'Reilly say this on Chris Cuomo on his show. Corporations have a responsibility for their product. Chris Cuomo was the product of CNN during COVID, abusing his relationship with the governor, his brother, and his resources to shape a narrative. Bye-bye, Fredo. Oh, this is too funny, man. I can only wonder, like, look at Chris Cuomo's face. He looks so sad. He's going, yeah, I really screwed that one up over there at CNN. Now I'm on News Nation arguing with Bill O'Reilly. All right, hang on. Let's roll it back here. just watch Chris Cuomo's face. You know, he's so sad.
This isn't about censorship, all right? This is about responsibility. And as you pointed out correctly, every corporation has a responsibility to make sure the product it is selling is an honest product.
Oh, wow.
And by saying that MAGA might have been responsible for murder, not only is that defamatory, but it's outrageous. What Kimmel did is inexplicable to me.
Oh, man. Oh, I love Bill. I love Bill. I was on the show. Remember when I was on the show? Right after I was on his show right after Tucker Carlson got fired from Fox News over the Dominion scandal. Bill O'Reilly wanted to get my take on where Tucker was going next. And of course, he turns to the expert of online news. Yours truly, Gary Franchi, the trailblazer, the pioneer, who's been here for 20 years kicking ass. Oh, yeah. They've tried to take me down more times than I can count. But I'm still here, bitches. Film Lad says, I think both Nexstar and Sinclair were perfectly capable of reading the news. The Zerg rush of normal people getting mass quantities of crazies fired all week is not exactly hidden knowledge. I'm not sure what the hell he's trying to say here. But he was quote tweeting Dana Loesch. We, the FCC, haven't told anyone that they had to get rid of Kimmel. Dana Loesch quoting Brandon Carr of the FCC. Dana Loesch with a new haircut, sporting bangs. That's a new look, Dana. Okay, well, let's hear what she, let's hear this little exchange.
Jimmy Kimmel, and so you've never called ABC. I don't even think you can legally. You never called ABC. You never called Sinclair. You never called Nexstar. You never said you got to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel, or the FCC is going to come down on you and look at your licenses, Sinclair, or look at your licenses, Nexstar. That never happened.
No, we never told anybody that they had to get rid of Kimmel. Frankly, I was surprised to see that Disney took that step. I was pleased when I saw Nexstar do it, when Sinclair did it. When I saw the news of Kimmel getting suspended by Disney, at first I thought maybe people were just misreporting on the Nexstar piece of it. And so we'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah, see, they didn't pick up the phone. They didn't open up Project 2025 and execute Order 66. TV news now. Jimmy Kimmel's going nuclear over this. He's furious and pissed off at the decision to suspend him. This is the last straw for Jimmy, according to the Ingram Angle, talking with Raymond Arroyo. I remember I ran into Raymond in the airport once. That was fun. Okay, let's listen. We got Eric Swalwell up next. Okay, let's hear what this short clip from the Ingram Angle.
They had a jump.
Apparently, the Daily Mail is reporting that Kimmel was going nuclear over this. He's furious, Raymond. He's PO'd over the decision to suspend him, and now he's not taking it lightly, and this is the last straw for Jimmy. This is the last straw for Jimmy. He said he already has a new job, and it's lit a fire, apparently. Already has.
Well, I spoke to people close to that show over the summer. They told me they were looking for another host then. This seems like it was convenient on ABC to sort of move them aside. But like so many of these guys, they had a John to decide to follow. Instead of John Carson, they followed Jon Stewart. It is ratings oblivion, and here we are.
Apparently, the Daily Mail.
The ratings. Eric Swalwell, sporting a new look too. Baseball cap and clear framed glasses. It looks like he's like going into a wood shop class to spin a lathe. Oh, his hat's the Jimmy Kimmel live hat. Oh, your solidarity. Eric Swalwell. A flustered Eric Swalwell. Colin Rugg says, a flustered Eric Swalwell says Jimmy Kimmel losing his show should shake every American. Says Greg Gutfeld is not funny. Oh, you know what? Greg Gutfeld's actually the king of late night. That's a show. That's actually a funny-ass show. If there is a late night show and I get an opportunity, putting on Gutfeld. Okay, let's listen to Swalwell with his woodshop glasses.
And go on.
Congressman, I see you are wearing a hat. What does that hat say?
You're damn right I am, John. I was a guest on the Jimmy Kimmel show. He, every night, has a right to come into any house that wants to watch and entertain Americans, just as Greg Gutfeld on Fox has a right to be not funny and go on his network and entertain Americans. It's a part of who we are, John, and frankly, it should shake every American that the President of the United States is out there firing comedians who make fun of him. What? It should shake every American that the President of the United States is out there firing comedians.
Wow. Wow. He said the President of the United States is out there firing comedians. Is President Trump, does he own ABC News now? Does he own ABC? Did I miss a headline? Todd, can you run a check real quick? Did President Trump, did he buy ABC? I need a fact check on that. No, that's a no. Confirmed. Okay, we've just confirmed. Our producer has confirmed Donald Trump is not the owner of ABC. Eric Swalwell? Seriously, bro? What are you worried about? Splinters from your lathe? Yeah, buddy. You better worry about the toothpick in your eye before you try to pull the toothpick out of someone else's eye, buddy. Okay? This guy. Unbelievable.
It should shake every American that the President of the United States is out there firing comedians who make fun of him. That is not who we are, and every American should care and stand up to this.
Congressman, I see you are wearing a hat. What does that hat say?
Wow, Eric swallows well. The lover to the late Chinese spy Fang Fang on CNN spreading absolute lies. I mean, like that was a straight up, that was a lie as bad as what Jimmy Kimmel said. But see, the difference here is this is CNN. This is a cable news channel. You're supposed to believe the news. Well, I guess it's CNN. So, I mean, everything they say is pretty much a lie. So, man, paging the House of Representatives. All right. Okay. Oh, speaking of liars. Okay. Blue Georgia. Clearly a Democrat, X account, says this is the real reason Jimmy Kimmel is being taken off the air, quoting Brian Stelter in my best Mark Dice interpretation. Shout out, Mark. Nexstar is already owns lots of TV stations. It wants to merge with Tegna. Oh, okay, so they're saying this is a conspiracy now. This is a conspiracy. Okay, so we have Brian Stelter on CNN. Okay, let's just hear. Let's hear the new grand conspiracy from CNN.
Nexstar already owns lots of TV stations. It wants to merge with Tegna, which owns lots of other stations. In order to do that, it needs Brendan Carr, the FCC chair's permission, and it actually needs the FCC to change the regulations entirely about how many stations an individual company can own. So Nexstar has all of this pending business before the government. Tegna also does. And there's another big station owner called Sinclair that also has business pending before the government. So what do we know tonight? We know that both Nexstar and Sinclair called up ABC this afternoon, complained about Kimmel, and said they were yanking the show off their stations. ABC subsequently yanked the show nationwide. So we know that two major TV station owners, both of which need to curry favor with the Trump administration, were the ones that most loudly and vocally condemned Kimmel and said they were going to not air the show tonight and in the coming nights. It's an Occam's razor situation. It's exactly what it looks like.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Humpty Dumpty spewing his lies. I'm not gonna try and finish that. Kaylin Collins stuck in the middle on that frame there with her just dead stare. So Stelter's saying that that Nexstar and Sinclair fired Kimmel, suspended Kimmel, whatever you want to say, and then what they ran to Brandon Carr. Oh, hey, Brandon Carr, guess what? You know, we want that big deal, right? Yeah. The one we've been working on, that big merger. Yeah. Well, I got good news for you. Oh, yeah. We fired him. He's gone. Yeah, we did exactly as you said. Okay, sure. Oh my goodness. I was not planning on spending this much time on this topic, but it's just too good. Speaking of losers, here is the head mortician at the Senate, Chuck Schumer.
What Brendan Carr is doing is despicable. What he did to Jimmy Kimmel, he is doing to person after person, network after network, intimidating them and threatening them. He is one of the greatest threats to free speech America has ever seen. He should resign immediately. Trump should fire him. What Brendan Carr is doing is despicable. What he did to Jimmy Kimmel, he is doing...
Even Chuck Schumer's like, Brendan Carr did this. This is Brendan Carr's fault. No, it was ABC's decision. Rob Bluey said, I had to explain on CNN yesterday why celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk was offensive and those doing it should be held accountable. Jimmy Kimmel should also suffer the consequences for his violent and insensitive comments. Do these people have no decency?
People who are...
Rob, to your mind, when you see people justifying doing this now, what do you make of their arguments? Does it feel somehow right in this context, but not right in the past context that the left talked about it?
Well, Audie, I agree with what Vice President J.D. Vance said there. I think there is a distinction between what you've seen in the past versus what you're seeing today. People who are celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I would put in a different category than others in the past who've been canceled for expressing their political views, which are far different from what you're seeing play out on social media platforms. The employers are ultimately going to make the decision if they want people to work for their companies that express those particular views.
And that's what ABC did. Oh, here's a beautiful meme. Jimmy Kimmel hanging out the window serving McDonald's. And then that famous picture of all them on Air Force One, or maybe that was Trump Force One, of Elon and Don Jr. and RFK Jr., Speaker Johnson eating McDonald's. Oh, what's this? Oh, no. Okay, so here we have another clip. This will be our last one. Curtis Houck, CNN's Mr. Shermichael Singleton on ABC's suspending Jimmy Kimmel.
Market in this country. Well, first of all, I thought Kimmel's comments were just stupid. I mean, obviously, based on the evidence that we have heard thus far from the investigators and prosecutor who's currently in charge of the case, it certainly appears, and I want to use the word appears, that this guy was certainly someone who had an ideology that I would argue, if you were looking at a political spectrum, is on the left of that political spectrum versus being on the right, number one. That said, I think Disney is looking at their bottom line. I mean, Disney has faced several tough cycles where they have had some serious financial issues. And when you have Nexstar and Sinclair, those two entities combined cover 80% of the local television market in this country. If those two conglomerates are saying we're not going to carry this show because it's not in sync with our values as corporations, or we've heard some anger from some of our individuals who watch in our various stations, or as Bill stated, you have business before the federal government that you would like to move forward. And by the way, those companies have a fiduciary responsibility to grow and expand those companies for their investors, and they're canceling, then ABC had no choice but to say, you know what, if we don't cancel this, then you run the risk of conservatives saying we're canceling Disney Plus. We're not going to Disney World or Disneyland. We're going to no longer purchase anything that fits under the Disney umbrella. That becomes a very serious question if you're Bob Iger running this company.
And you know the irony? Democrats are canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions over this. If you got value for this report, tab subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what happens when you mock murdered patriots on national television, when you spread outright lies that go against the public interest. Democrats' hysteria over Kimmel's suspension reveals everything. Swalwell says it should shake every American, saying Donald Trump orchestrated this. Schumer demanding resignations. Why the panic? Because they just lost their most reliable propagandist. For years, Kimmel poisoned minds with partisan hate disguised as comedy. He normalized attacking conservatives, smearing Trump voters, and now outright lying about an assassination. But dancing on Charlie Kirk's grave was the final straw. ABC had enough, okay? It was their choice. See, the ratings had already tanked. The comedy was already dead. And when you joke about political murder and spread lies about it, you cross a line even Hollywood can't ignore. Bill O'Reilly, he nailed it. It's not censorship, it's responsibility. Scott Jennings said it plain. Free speech doesn't guarantee you a TV show when you lie about dead Americans. Here's the question. Should networks fire all hosts who lie about political violence? Drop a yes or a no. Let's continue this conversation. And remember, we got merch that triggers them even more at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Wow. I was not planning to spend nearly an hour on that topic, but man, it was rich. There was just too much to tackle. And our next topic is going to be equally as intriguing. But we had quite a few super chats that came through. I'm trying to get them all on screen here for you. Inbred Outlook. You're the only news I trust anymore. Keep it up, please. Thank you. Nancy Pelosi's liver. Everyone remember to watch Charlie's funeral on Sunday. Squeeze a lot. Says, also when things were unfolding with Charlie Kirk, N3 covered it, was way ahead of the lame MSM, people gathering around my tablet rather than on TVs. You know what? Yeah, it's because we had the news before everybody else did. Heather Reeve, thank you, Squeeze a lot. Heather Reeve, Gary, are you going to host Charlie's funeral? I'm going to talk to Brian about that, see if we can run a stream for that. That is this Sunday. I'm not sure if I will specifically host it. I do have other obligations that day, but I think we will try to carry it. So, Brian, if you could make a mental note, figure out how we can cover that. I'm sure Turning Point will probably have a feed of their own. If we could pull up a direct feed from Turning Point, that would be preferred. Sam USA, $10. He says, fan character with eyes wide open blushing. All right. Dan Thompson, God bless you, Gary. Keep up the good work. I'm an Odinist. What's up, Dan, the Odinist? Tony Houston, Demon Kratz. Dan Thompson, my wife says I can't spend any more money. Gary? Well, you better listen to your wife then, Dan. Squeeze a lot. We believe in you and N3 truths free minds. Squeeze a lot. Again, squeeze a lot. Supply drop. Keep it up, y'all. Keep bushwhacking. We're not trying to follow a path. Bring the light in danger close, brother. Force back the darkness. All right. Well, we got some darkness to address right now. We're going to talk about this Candace Owens controversy that has been spreading. And let's see what this is all about. You're gonna get my take. Look, I don't normally weigh in on internal conservative drama, but this is just too important to ignore. The battle for Charlie Kirk's legacy has exploded into an all-out war. Candace Owens is claiming that powerful figures tried to control Kirk's message before his death, alleging secret meetings and pressure campaigns over his political positions. Now she's threatening to expose everything about who tried to influence him and why. But others are fighting back hard. Marina Medven says that Kirk himself called Owens' beliefs demonic. Bill Ackman's defending his interactions with Kirk, and now Kirk's grieving widow is caught in the middle while former allies tear each other apart. Is this about truth or control? Who really understood what Kirk believed? This conservative movement is fracturing before our eyes, so keep on watching. Now, before I get to that, it's a word from our sponsor, because we recently covered a company called Western Star Resources here on the channel, a gold and silver exploration company we believed had serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star just signed an MOU with American Corp to push forward the U.S. growth strategy, and here's why the timing is so important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, and with the U.S. government making it clear they want more homegrown exploration instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. Now, this is not just about mining. It's about national security, economic stability, and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise, combined with a supportive policy environment, means they're stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? I wouldn't bet against it. Western Star Resources is making gold and silver great again. You can find out more by visiting westernstarresources.com. Now, over the last 48 hours, there's been a lot of controversy brewing surrounding Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk's legacy. When Candace Owens officially went live with her first remarks after his assassination, I was stunned. There were 250,000 people watching her feed, and then the feed literally crashed. I mean, she broke YouTube. They had to restart the stream. I'd never seen anything like it. I don't think I've ever seen that many people on a live stream before. Shadow of Ezra posting this. Candace Owens warns she's ready to go to war against anyone who thinks they can step in to replace Charlie Kirk. She promises to release every single text message and expose everything. Owens tells them to back off now, claiming she knows exactly who they are over my dead body, she says, which I'm sure can be arranged. And here is her remarks.
That you are going to replace Charlie Kirk, okay? Kings are born. You don't just get to depose and tell us that we're going to follow this individual, okay? I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. You put a shill in Charlie Kirk's chair, in Charlie Kirk's company, and you try to tell us to follow that individual, I will be an enemy of you. There will be nothing that can stop me. Okay? And I want you guys to understand, this is not a threat. This is a promise. There will be nothing that can stop me. I will release every single text message. So to those of you who are trying that, I'm seeing the messages. I am telling you to back off right now. Like right now. Don't do it. Okay? Don't you think about it. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who you were that were exerting pressure. Don't you pretend to be noble now and say nice things about Charlie Kirk and think you're going to slide into his chair. Okay? Over my dead body, which I'm sure can be arranged.
Oh my Lord.
Those of you who think that you are going to...
Now, there's been question, even in my own mind, about who could fill that chair. Who could have this same kind of debate that Charlie Kirk would have on those college campuses? I don't think there's really anybody. Now, of course, she's very concerned about who they could put in that chair. Turning Point's an organization. They can certainly appoint somebody to fill that role. She's concerned about a shill or just a mouthpiece or somebody who would be picked for a specific reason and not for the integrity that Charlie Kirk represented. And rightfully so. I think that you have to be very careful about the person who would fill those shoes. We're learning today that Erica Kirk has now been unanimously voted in as the new head of Turning Point, which seems perfectly normal. Now, as I personally have never seen her debate, I've never seen her on his show. I mean, The only time we would play Charlie Kirk clips here would be when there was something that was going viral. Charlie would say something that made sense, and we present it here. So I can't speak to what she's capable of doing, or if she would even want to take that chair. Bill Ackman has been accused by Candace Owens of staging an intervention with Charlie Kirk over his views on Israel. Now, this has been one point of contention. A lot of people have tried to make a connection that Israel was behind the attack on Charlie Kirk. Or that there's some grand conspiracy surrounding it. The only conspiracy is that it was the radical left, trans, furry, brainwashed youth who felt it was necessary to silence a voice because they couldn't debate him. That is the only conspiracy. And the conspiracy regarding the individuals who had foreknowledge in that circle. Okay? The people on the Discord chat who had foreknowledge, the different groups, like we brought out the other day, the armed queers of Salt Lake City, who promptly deleted all their social media. Did they have foreknowledge? Did they assist? These are all questions that have yet to have answers. But we know that group specifically is under FBI investigation, and the head of that group, as we revealed the other day, was a recipient of a State Department affiliated award and glorified by the United Nations. Now, that doesn't mean that those groups are specifically behind it. It just means that perhaps their rhetoric, their language helped to radicalize that individual to action. Now, everyone is saying that Candace Owens, like here, Maslet Tony Erickson says, since Miss Israel did it, Candace Owens has tried to put words in Charlie Kirk's mouth. This is what Charlie Kirk actually thought about Israel in his own words.
Direct. We've been on the move. We were in Israel a couple weeks ago for the embassy opening.
We went out with Huckabee about 4 or 5 years ago.
Is it not the most amazing place?
I never been, and we had like an hour with Netanyahu.
He's special.
Yes.
He's a special leader.
You know why it says?
Oh, and he's everything a leader should be, right? I mean, just confident and direct.
Barack wasn't.
We've been on the move. We were in Israel a couple weeks.
Now, Candace Owens had to come out 24 hours ago, and she says, it's crazy how I never once said that Israel murdered Charlie Kirk, but the Zionists are all repeating that without a shred of evidence. Remember, if they aren't lying, they aren't breathing. So she never once said, apparently, that Israel was behind it. People are stating that she did. Marina Medvin posting this, no, Charlie Kirk did not agree with Candace Owens and her anti-Semitism. He called her beliefs demonic. Now, there's been a lot of posts going around saying that Charlie Kirk said that Candace Owens was demonic. These are the actual words that were stated.
Thank you for coming, Charlie. And I had a quick question about anti-Semitism online. Another question here they asked about Candace Owens, and I'm a big fan of you. I was a big fan of her, but she's obviously been going down this anti-Semitic bent. And through her, I'm kind of finding out about these other characters online, like Nick, for instance. I'm sure you've heard of him. And these people, they've been active for a long time, and it seems like they've just been ignored, which is working, but now they're kind of surging in popularity. And as someone who I enjoy watching your debates, are they people you'd be willing to engage with and maybe shut them down in a way through a debate or something like that?
Well, I mean, I'm going to debate Candace. But no, look, I'll debate anybody that shows up at our campus events first and foremost. But I do want to take what you say and extrapolate that there is a corner of the internet of people that want to point and blame the Jews for all their problems. Everybody, this is demonic and it's from the pit of hell. And it should not be tolerated, period. But it goes to the structural problem.
So he says that it is demonic. The mindset is demonic. Now, on the PBD podcast, this guy, let's see, I'm not sure, who's this guy?
I think she's...
Okay, so here's what one of the guys on PBD podcast had to say.
Tweet, there's 10 million people, 10 million views who trust Candace. At what point are we going to say Candace gives opinions? Is the FBI? Is the CIA? Is anyone in the intelligence saying we have credible evidence to find that Israel is at play here? Zero. This is Candace spouting on the internet. Right. And at one point are people going to be like, we just can't trust what she's saying. Last thing about Candace, and I look, every time I've hung out with Candace, I've enjoyed my time with Candace. I think she's cool. I think she's fun. I think she's gone down a deep, dark rabbit hole the last couple of years. That's my opinion. Her entire career, you can almost assess that it's Jews or very pro-Israel people that have put her on. And she slapped them all in the face. Dennis Prager, Dave Rubin, Charlie Kirk to an extent, Ben Shapiro on Daily Wire. They all gave her a platform. And then she just spits in all their face. And now none of them want anything to do with them. It's very reminiscent in a weird way of the U.S.-China relation. Who opened up the China's role in the world, in the World Trade Organization? Wasn't it Richard Nixon? Didn't Bill Clinton open up a trade organization with China? And now China is our biggest competitor? And they basically spew anti-American rhetoric and try to tear down American hegemony around the world? At some point, you would say this. We've said this in the podcast. Have a little respect for what America's done for you. But now China has no respect for America. They want to tear down America. That is very symbolic of what Candace is doing to Israel and the Jewish community.
Vinny.
She did a tweet.
Interesting perspective. Here's one from Candace Owens dropping a bomb. Now, a lot of people are arguing over these text messages, these Discord chat messages. I mean, really? Does the FBI do they really have to doctor text messages to prove a point? I don't know why they would have to do something like that. I mean, someone give me a motive. Spell it out for me. Maybe Candace will. I've heard a lot of people arguing online about this, saying the language just doesn't make sense. It's not how somebody would actually type. How do you know this trans furry is not going to have proper English when he types? I mean, there were certain points where he was using internet language, abbreviations that are quite common in chat messages. I mean, I'm not buying it. I mean, there's a lot of crazy-ass conspiracies floating around Charlie Kirk and his assassination. Give it a rest, man. Okay? I'm not buying there's a guy in the back touching his hat and another guy tapping his arm and a guy with something under his arm or a guy in front or a bird that they think is a drone. Spare me. I'm not buying what you're selling. Because sometimes the simplest answer is the answer. A radicalized leftist lunatic plotted and executed the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Because he wanted to impress his trans furry internet buddies. That's why. Now he's facing the death penalty. So here's Candace Owens. She says the DOJ doctored the Tyler Robinson messages, selectively edited, cherry-picked, and released without timestamps to frame a narrative. Listen, the narrative was already framed when we heard what was etched on those frickin' bullets. So I don't need to even read Discord messages. We played him here the other night. So let's hear Candace's take. This is a fresh take. I haven't seen this yet, so I don't even know what her take is. Maybe by the end of this, she'll have convinced me. But I doubt it.
I want timestamp. Yeah, these messages are clearly doctored, is what I would say. They're doctored. Now, they could decide why they're doing that. Tyler's being forthcoming. We're protecting him in some capacity. I find that to be unacceptable. Okay? Unacceptable. I want every single text message. I want timestamps. It is conspicuous that you are not telling us when this was sent, because it sounds like it's when the campus is on lockdown and he's got to go back and he's got to clean up. And then all of a sudden we're in the next day when his dad is getting clued in after the picture's been released. They're not telling us that. Okay. And you have a right to be a little bit uncomfortable about that, because I'm a lot of bit uncomfortable about that. We need full answers. Yeah, these messages are
so
clearly...
because there's no timestamps, you're going to freak out? I mean, I could read those text messages and I could extrapolate from my own mental perspective and my own time frame from covering the whole thing, from the moment the shot was fired to the moment the pictures were released, to the moment the gun was found, to the moment he was in custody. I can read these text messages and know exactly when they were sent, because I've been tracking this. So for me, I don't need timestamps. Sure, you want to get server stamps, you want to get IP codes, you want to get the actual Discord screenshots to make you happy. Fine. Okay, release them. And then what? They're going to say the same thing? Spare me. Spare me. Please. Adventures of X responding to Candace Owens. Candace Owens threatens to destroy Turning Point USA if it promotes anything that she disagrees with. Candace Owens, he says, is a mentally ill lunatic who Charlie Kirk actively distanced himself from because he thought she lost her grip on reality and her views were, in his words, demonic. Try not to roll your eyes when you watch this.
Investigate anything. It is shocking to me how when I'm not even trying to look into Israel, they pop up in everything. I think this is the reason why we don't get to open the Epstein files, we don't get to open the JFK files. Parking aside America, other countries too. You investigate anything. I mean, I'm investigating Brigitte Macron, an Israeli blackmail comes up in Morocco. Everything that's being introduced by Zionists, right, and into our society, gambling, a major vice, drugs, prostitution, sex pornography. We Jews love pornography because we hate Catholics and we hate Jesus and allows us to crush the church. They want to make you guys think that this culture is okay, because then they can subjugate your culture. It was convenient for Israel, by the way, when the towers went down. It was just convenient for Israel that JFK got shot. They shot JFK in an open car, so...
Okay, so, I mean, I know where she's going with all this. And we can go ahead and... You want to have the Israel conversation? Sure. Mossad? Yeah, they're an intelligence agency. They have their own agenda, too. Dancing Israelis? At 9/11? Oh, yeah. They were there. Not going to deny it. I'm sure they probably had intelligence that was going to happen. And that they were waiting to find out with their cameras to record it. But to say that they were behind Charlie Kirk because he was starting to allow open debate about Israel's role in the world. Oh, yeah, I saw the Turning Point USA discussions. I saw Tucker Carlson. Yeah, I saw that. Do we have Charlie Kirk's pastor? I think we do. Todd, if you could grab that. I thought we had it in here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Here is Lance Wallnow. Says, it grieves me to see voices like Candace Owens drifting into dangerous conspiracies and claiming Israel is somehow tied to Kirk's death. That's not discernment, that is deception.
Any Christian or movement leader in MAGA who is a believer that believes that Israel is your enemy and that the Jewish people are somehow your enemy opens you up to a spirit of deception, especially that. There's something particularly pernicious and toxic. And what I've noticed is the voices that I most have enjoyed and rely on, when they start going off on Israel, and they bring it into Charlie Kirk's situation. So you've got some leaders that are trying to connect Bibi Netanyahu to the assassination. You understand how crazy that is? Crazy to you, but not to them, because they've already let their brain be open to that demon, that the Jews are the conspiracy behind everything. You say I'm crazy. I'm not. In various ways, if you've opened yourself up to that, like Candace Owens, for instance, then what comes out of you later on is a deceiving spirit that she's in agreement with, and it leads to conspiracy theories of different iterations. Any Christian or movement leader in MAGA.
Okay, so we've got some stuff that just came in here. Candace Owens posting this just 60 minutes ago. Her own words. She says, I knew Bibi was lying about a letter in May because Charlie would message me his concerns about Israel and send me his tweets he published to that effect. Like I said, we never for a single second stopped being friends, and pursuing this lie will only further embarrass the Zionists, she writes. And it looks like there is a post, a screenshot, Thursday, May 22nd at 11 a.m. She attaches to this tweet. And it looks like it is a screenshot of a text message between, I'm guessing, her and Charlie Kirk. At the top, you can see Charlie Kirk's image. It says Charlie Kirk knew. And that's likely because he changed his phone number. And it looks like, okay, so it looks like Charlie Kirk was sending her a tweet that he had sent. And the tweet says, Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lachinsky were two beautiful young people with their whole lives ahead of them. Their murder was senseless, evil, and horrifying, and the man who did it should be punished to the maximum extent possible. But I must push back against one thing all over. And she responds, great tweet. He responds with the pray hands. Speech censorship is coming to America. She writes back to him, and he says, it totally is. Now, I'm not sure if... Now, there's a link there to an X post. I would have to dig a little deeper to see if what is attached here is posted at May 22nd, 11 a.m. of this year. If the text of that matches the link, I'm not sure. But I believe that what we're seeing here is a reference to those two Jewish college students that were killed in Washington, D.C. That's about that time frame. Just in, David Brody. Charlie Kirk's pastor, Rob McCroy, says Charlie looked to biblical scripture in proclaiming his full-throttle support for Israel. He believed Jews had an ancestral right to the land. He believed the Jews are God's chosen people. He believed in the sovereignty of Israel.
There's discussion about his views on Israel. What I can tell you is that Charlie believed, and I was with him in Korea. That was the last trip we took. It was last week, and he was wanting me to go to Israel to start a work there. That was his request of me, and I know that he believed the Jews had an ancestral right to the land. He believed that Jews are God's chosen people. He believed in the sovereignty of Israel. He also believed Ezekiel 37, that there was that there is to be a political nation first and a spiritual nation second. And so he would be accused of being an anti-Semite because he would separate that you can question the political government of Israel, but you stand with the realization that the Jews are God's chosen people. They have an ancestral right to the land. But you can also, like we do with our own government, call them out when they're wrong. And I was on a text stream with him and Orthodox rabbis and Orthodox believers, and he would lay this out. He would lay it out, and he would glean from that, and then he'd be on the other side where he's trying to understand, Tucker's position and everyone else's, because he was trying to build a bridge for young people 18 to 30 that were non-traditional conservative voters.
Right.
These are kids that were sick and tired of watching their peers die in the 1040 window in the Middle East in wars put forward by the industrial war complex, and to see them dying in villages and hamlets of the names they couldn't pronounce, and then abandon them and come back and they're still the walking wounded because they've got PTSD.
Okay, so he's separating the difference between the government and the Jewish people themselves. Now, this is that same pastor. This has been circulating. You may have seen it. It's been sent to me several times. This is Charlie Kirk's pastor, Rob McCoy, who you just saw. He says, help me get this out. Charlie Kirk was my friend, and I was his pastor. I want to simply say this regarding Candace Owens. Charlie Kirk was a friend to Candace and never publicly spoke poorly of her, though he disagreed with her. He never operated nor entertained gossip or innuendo concerning Candace. My only comment I offer regarding Candace is this. I only wish, at this tragic time of mourning, she would be a friend to Charlie that he was to her. He would never have treated Candace or her family in such a way had, God forbid, this tragedy been hers. A friend loves at all times. Proverbs 17:7. I think what Candace is doing here is she is trying to defend his legacy. I think she's trying to be a friend where she sees vultures circling to pick up the legacy. I understand that. But going into the conspiracy realm, insinuating that Kirk was killed by Israel, even though she says right here, right? She says, I never once said Israel murdered Charlie Kirk. I mean, that seems to be the prevailing narrative at this point. But she says that the Zionists are repeating that without a shred of evidence. Rob McCoy, he says, this is not a time to get clicks. It's not a time to build your empire. It's a time to simply weep with those who weep, and it is a time to humble yourself and not make it about you. It is about the Lord. 24 hours ago, he posted this video.
Humble yourself. Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep. Be of the same mind toward one another. Do not set your mind on high things, but associate with the humble, and do not be wise in your own opinion. I think that's a fitting verse. I mean, we're hearing all kinds of speculation about Charlie and what he believed and didn't believe. And I just have to tell you, this is not the time for it. It's a time to minister to the family. They have a husband and a father to bury.
Exactly.
We have a friend to bury, a brother.
Exactly. This is not the time. This is not the time to speculate on Discord messages that don't have timestamps and don't sound phonetically correct to a 22-year-old trans furry on the internet. This is not a time to pretend that people making hand signs and hand gestures and seeing a guy with his hand under his armpit who was Charlie Kirk's best friend make a claim like that he was the killer, or that Israel sent out a hit. How ridiculous is that? And I saw Mark Dice's take on this the other night. And I'm like, yeah, Like, he's totally right. Okay? If Mossad wanted to take out Charlie Kirk, what would they do? They wouldn't pick a deranged 22-year-old transferee. They wouldn't do it. Okay? Go watch Mark's video. It's a great take. I don't agree with his take on the text message thing, but anyone who's going to make the insinuation is just like, why? You that's what you're doing. You're chasing clicks. It's disgraceful. Let the family mourn, for God's sake. Let all of us mourn. When I open up my X feed and I see constant conspiracy after conspiracy over Charlie Kirk's loss, over his death, I get sick to my stomach. Listen, I'm the biggest, like I've said before, I'm the biggest conspiracy theorist out there. I question every freaking narrative because we have to. But like this is a simple explanation. The left has been radicalizing the youth forever. Charlie Kirk was a massive threat to that because he would challenge their doctrines in their temples. The universities, the temples of brainwashing. He would walk into their temples and he would overturn the tables. They could not have that anymore. They demonized us. They dehumanized us. They called us Nazis. They called us fascists. They labeled us every single thing in the book. And that's all it took for one lunatic to snap. And that's how we got here. So whatever Candace is doing, like I think she's coming from a good place because she's trying to protect what she sees people circling his chair. But I don't think we need to concern ourselves. I really don't. Why now? Why now? It's been just over a week. Can we just let the dust settle? Can we have a funeral? Can we frickin' mourn before we start throwing jabs at everybody and pointing fingers, claiming conspiracies? Is this the time to do it? No. Let the facts come forward. That's why I never jump on anything ever. Whenever there's a mass shooting or something like that, I see everyone running to their YouTube channels and posting videos, popping their theories. I don't do that. I don't jump on that bandwagon. I let the dust settle. I take a step back. I look at the big picture and I try to understand what is happening. I listen to the narratives that are developing. Then I connect the dots. And then I come and sit here before this microphone and I present to you my investigation, my opinion, my perspective, and my feelings. I do not jump to the conclusions without facts that I can substantiate. So I'm not going to sit here and pick apart a Discord message, or I'm not going to say because Bibi Netanyahu posted something after Charlie passed that that's evidence. Mossad's behind it all. Charlie was getting too close to Israel, guys. That's why. He let Tucker Carlson talk at Turning Point. That's why. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to sit here and look, I don't even want to be doing this report. But it's like, it's gotten to the point where people are just, they're jumping to conclusions. The body hasn't even been buried yet. Erica Kirk is going to bed alone every night. Her kids think Daddy's on a work trip with Jesus. They don't even understand what has happened yet. And every time I open up X, I see a disgusting meme. I see clip after clip of people mocking Charlie's passing, and I'm nauseated by it all. But this is what I do. This is the work I have. This is what I have to face every day. I have to digest it all. I have to bring it to you and try to make sense of it. And this whole Candace Owens thing is just adding a whole another level of drama that shouldn't even be there. Like, Candace, just Candace, just shut up. Just shut up. Let us freaking grieve. Maybe this is the way you grieve. I don't know. You go in front of the camera, you go in front of your microphone, you go in front of your Apple laptop with your stickers on it because you don't want to promote Apple products, whatever it is, I don't know. And you feel like you have to be the one to defend the legacy. Well, how about you let his wife defend the legacy? I saw the clip that you posted, Candace. I saw what you wrote. I saw what you said. No one's going to shut you up. No one's going to shut you up but your husband or Erica Kirk. Why even bring his wife into this? Why even say that Erica Kirk has to shut you up? Why even put her through it? That in itself is a freaking disgrace. Maybe your husband needs to have a talk with you. I'm having a talk with you right now, Candace. You know, I've never even met you. You were in Indiana once, and I was trying to connect with you years and years ago. It never panned out. I remember when you were getting started on YouTube. I think your YouTube channel name was Red Pill Black. I remember my ad manager was telling me about your channel and how your channel got deleted off YouTube. And then you came back roaring. You hooked up with Charlie. I don't know the whole timeline of your career. I don't even watch your stuff. I don't. I've said this before. I don't watch Ben Shapiro. I don't watch Jack Posobiec. I don't watch Steve Bannon. I don't watch Candace Owens. I don't watch Alex Jones. I don't watch anybody. I don't watch Ben Shapiro because my thoughts are my own. The only time I watch those folks is when I'm playing the clips when they have something substantive to say that I think is important enough for my audience to hear it. Just let the family frickin' grieve, Candace. You don't need to put the spotlight on you. You don't need to be the defender of the legacy. Just don't. Ian Carroll says Candace Owens helped Max Blumenthal push a false story that Charlie Kirk was turning against Israel and urged Tucker and Dave Smith to amplify it. Blumenthal's outlet is Iran-funded. The piece is debunked. Candace lies run deeper. Okay. Ian Carroll.
First about the Candace has really driven this whole news story because it was Candace's reporting at first about the Hamptons meeting that I think empowered Max Blumenthal. I'm sure like Max Blumenthal had that article that was published by the Gray Zone. He had that before Candace's episode, but she gave space for him to publish that article into a tailwind, into the wave. And then he publishes that article and then she has more to bring. And then she calls on Dave and Tucker to be like, say what you know. You guys know stuff. You were around him. You have text messages. Share what you know. And so then last night I was like, fuck, what are they going to do? And Dave comes out and like Dave and I kind of went back and forth about it because Dave was like, Ian, what the fuck are you doing, bro? You're dumb. It's Israel. What? And I was like, okay, Dave, I know. Like, I get it, bro. Like, you're older and wiser than me. And, you know.
Okay. So I think I've said my piece here. They were friends. They were. Is she defending the legacy? This is what she said. This is what I thought was just sick.
And no one, and I mean absolutely no one, outside of my husband and Erica Kirk has the power to shut me up right now. That's it. No.
Yeah, why? Why? Why would you put his wife through it? No one has the power to shut me up but my husband or Erica Kirk. I'll leave it right there. I will leave it right there. If you have value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So the situation needs to be addressed. While Erica Kirk is grieving her husband and caring for her children, a public battle has erupted over Charlie's legacy. Candace Owens claims powerful figures try to control Kirk's message through pressure campaigns. We saw Charlie's own view about Candace's feelings on Israel, calling them demonic. Bill Ackman is defending Israel. Each side presents their versions of Kirk's true beliefs, creating a spectacle during what should be a time of mourning. Whatever the truth about these competing claims, the timing just could not be worse. A family has suffered an unimaginable loss, and they deserve space to grieve without their loved one's name being dragged through public disputes. These conversations about Kirk's legacy and beliefs can wait until the family has had time to process their loss. So here's a question. We can have this out in the comments. Should public figures wait to discuss a deceased person's legacy till after the family has had an appropriate time to grieve? Yes or no? Share your thoughts in the comments below. No, I didn't want to do a plug. No plug. I'm not plugging the merch shop. It's inappropriate. To make sure you clip that off. Oh, damn. That segment didn't go over well. I think we lost about 300 viewers over that clip. Oh, well. By the way, Tony shares with us $2 that John Wilkes Booth was a Democrat. Thank you. Oh, man. So, speaking about the lunacy of the left, that's where we're going in our next topic, because it is everywhere. And it is what I must filter through every day. Try to make sense of this world we live. What do you guys think about that? I don't weigh in on these stupid freaking internal squabbles. The last time I did anything like this was when Candace and Ben Shapiro were going at each other. And then Candace goes on Tucker Carlson. And I was like, what the hell are you guys doing? Why are you wasting Tucker Carlson's airtime? To air your grievances over getting fired from the Daily Wire. I mean, what do you guys think about this? Why? Stock Jock says Candace is a warrior. I don't doubt that she's a warrior. I mean, she doesn't hold back. And I do enjoy, like when she went on Capitol Hill, I love watching that. It was freaking awesome. Yeah, I hope Erica speaks out and tells her to stop the division. We are Charlie Kirk. Ben doesn't believe in Jesus. Of course he doesn't. Christ is king. Should I just tweet at Erica and be like, Erica, tell Candace to shut up? Because apparently only Erica is the one who can talk to her. Sue's like, stay out of it. I tried to stay out of it. I did. I really did. I tried. But it just like became so prevalent. It became so prevalent everywhere. I'm like, dude, I have to address this. I didn't have a choice. Oh, Zonker, it's too late. I just stepped in it. I don't think she'll have anything to say about it, but I'm sure she'll get wind of what I had to say. I didn't hold back, though. I really didn't. Stocks says, take a vacation. I took last night off. Candace is using a tragedy for her own gain, says Leslie. Gary, no, Erica sees it all. Yeah, she has. She has seen it, Joe. She has, right? She has. Bada bada, you are exposed, chief. Okay. All right, I'm trying to, yeah, the conspiracy could have waited. Okay. I need to kind of just reset my. I know. I'm looking at what I'm about to walk into here. No. I'm still fired up. Let's just fucking let him have it. Here we go. What an asshole. What an asshole. Okay. Yeah, really, Colbert, really, dude. Gary, I appreciate your righteous anger in this. It's needed right now. Thank you. Gary would be proud of you, Gary. What? Candace is wrong. She's forgetting that. We are Charlie Kirk. Okay. All right. Oh, man, my neck. All right, man. All I want to talk about is Jimmy Kimmel. Give me a break. Well, I guess we got some more Jimmy Kimmel bullshit to address right now. What day is it? Oh, it's Thursday. Well, tomorrow we're going to have an early show. Let you guys know. Early show tomorrow. I need to be clear from the show, I think at like 3:30. Yeah. And I got to be out the door for a family event. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Family. Okay, Brian, let's kick some ass. The reaction to Charlie Kirk's murder exposed the left's true face. College students openly called for more political assassinations. Professors used his death to attack him. Baristas at Starbucks mocked grieving families, but it gets worse. The FBI now investigating armed militia groups with direct ties to Democrat politicians. Photos surfacing of Elizabeth Warren standing with the leader of Armed Queers of Salt Lake City, the same group whose director declared sometimes violence must happen. From campus radicals to coffee shops to Congress, the celebration of Kirk's death revealed a coordinated network of hate. And while they dance on his grave, new evidence emerges linking these groups to something much darker. The connections will shock you. First, a word from our sponsor. We recently covered a company called Western Star Resources here on the channel, a gold and silver exploration company we believe has serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star just signed an MOU with the American Corp to push forward their U.S. growth strategy, and here's why the timing is so important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, and with the U.S. government making it clear they want more homegrown exploration, instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. Now, this is not just about mining, it's about national security, economic stability, and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise, combined with a supportive policy environment, means they're stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? I would not bet against it. Western Star Resources is making gold and silver great again. They are a sponsor of this program, and we thank them for making it possible. WesternStarResources.com, link down below. Now, everyone's talking about Jimmy Kimmel these days because, well, Jimmy Kimmel just got his ass handed to him. And speaking of asses, Stephen Colbert decided to weigh in on the topic in the exact same mocking way you would expect Stephen Colbert to do so. Well, look at your screen. Do you see what it says there? Stephen Colbert declares, "Tonight we are all Jimmy Kimmel," in a solemn show dedicated to the canned late-night host. Oh, we are all Jimmy Kimmel? I wonder where you got that idea from, Stephen. Are you mocking people saying we are all Charlie Kirk? Clearly you are. Thank God your show's days are numbered too. But it gets worse. Have you guys heard of a game called Roblox? Yeah, we covered them a couple weeks ago. Pedos crawling all over that platform. Well, now they've got a Charlie Kirk assassination simulator. Kids as young as 5 are playing it. Parents are outraged, and parents are outraged. Politicians want to ban it, and big tech is under fire. A Roblox Charlie Kirk simulator. Who the hell? Are you serious? This is just disgusting. Oh my goodness. I didn't think the left could go any lower. But they have. And speaking of lunatic leftists, we've been tracking this story. Jacqueline Garretson. I actually know her, a friend of hers, and I see her at local GOP events quite frequently. In fact, I just saw her at the Charlie Kirk vigil in Northbrook. Well, she's making a lot of noise right now. And you may have heard the story about the Starbucks cup that someone ordered a mint majesty with 2 honeys. That was Charlie Kirk's favorite drink. They asked to put Charlie Kirk's name on the cup. They wrote loser. Well, now the specific Starbucks that she went to has closed their doors and only offering drive-through. Now, just previously, they wouldn't even print the name on the cup, saying it was a political slogan. Did you know that Rudy Giuliani had to get involved? Now, I have it on good authority because we have a connection through the Illinois Review, through Mark Vargas. Rudy Giuliani was out here a couple years ago. I was able to see him speak. So Rudy Giuliani got involved. Here is his post on that. Update: Starbucks employees must write Charlie Kirk's name. He posts this, an update from Starbucks. In response to some conversations on social media, Starbucks shared the following. There are no restrictions on customers using Charlie Kirk's name on their order, and we are following up with our team. Well, Jacqueline went there and Couldn't get through. Still no call back from district manager, even though he promised. Corporate hasn't reached out either, despite multiple attempts. Store is closed. The only drive-through is open, so I can't even follow up in person. That's what they don't want you to follow up in person. And did you guys hear this? Speaking of Illinois, this just blows my mind, right? This is why the National Guard has to roll into Chicago, because of morons like this. This is the mayor of Chicago. Wait till you hear what he says.
That has not. The fact of the matter is, we are driving violence down on this city, and we're using every single resource that's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that has not led to safe communities. The fact of the matter is, we are driving violence down on this city, and we're using every single resource that's available to us. Jails and incarceration and law enforcement is a sickness that.
Law enforcement is a sickness. Make it make sense. Somebody, please make it make sense. You can't. That is why Donald Trump had to bring the National Guard and ICE into Chicago. Because this guy says law enforcement is a sickness. I don't even know how this guy got into office. Well, I guess Chicago, I mean, they make up their own votes there. They got it figured out. J.D. Vance, 24 hours ago, weighing in on the First Amendment. People are getting fired, you know, talking about Charlie Kirk and celebrating his death and all that. Jimmy Kimmel getting fired for lying. Here's J.D. Vance.
You celebrate Charlie. Justice exists for both the people who repent and ask forgiveness. Justice also exists for people who don't repent and don't ask for forgiveness. I really do hope that the person who murdered Charlie Kirk eventually accepts that what he did was evil and terrible, but we still got to have justice anyway. And I think that for the people who are celebrating Charlie Kirk, look, we have a First Amendment in this country. The First Amendment protects a lot of very ugly speech, but if you celebrate Charlie Kirk's death, you should not be protected from being fired for being a disgusting person. If you're a university professor.
Yeah. Free speech does have consequences. And Mayor Brandon Johnson has his free speech, and it has consequences. Here's Megyn Kelly on the Charlie Kirk show talking about the Starbucks situation. It has reached Megyn Kelly. Jacqueline Garrison saying, "Thank you for shining a light. We're done being tolerant of this behavior." Starbucks press release only confirms their woke culture is alive and well. This is not cancel culture. It is consequence culture. Amen.
Did you see that story, Daisy, of they posted it on X? Somebody, an older woman, a grandmother, went into a Starbucks and asked for that, and they gave it to her, and they wrote "loser" on it. Well, her family unleashed holy, you know what, on this Starbucks to the point where they were temporarily closed when the family went back to find accountability. It's amazing, though. It's like the story's not about some loser who wrote "loser." Right? It's about people have had it. They're pushing back Charlie style, because the confrontation was actually very polite, but it was like, you're not going to do this to us. Did you see that story, Daisy, of the
Oh, man. This was the video, the confrontation itself.
All right, we're heading in.
Yeah, I'm not going to play it because the music in the background. Oh, speaking of disgusting people, this one is rough. We posted this 12 hours ago. Mac Tina. Right, it's car shopping. Make sure you skip the Napleton dealerships. Maureen is a repugnant human being and also legal counsel for the dealerships. This is by far the worst comment I've seen. Disgusting. Maureen Napleton writes this. I'd be very happy to dance on this mother effer's grave. If you don't like my opinion, that's a you problem, because I don't give a single unfollow, unfriend, be gone. This man was a monster, and I only hope Trump is next. If these a-holes want to live by the sword, they too die by the sword, and if you don't get that reference, you too are uneducated to comment. Wow. She says, I hope Trump is next. Maureen Napleton. Napleton. I think that's it's a dealership. That's a local dealership. Napleton Chevrolet. I see them all over. Wow. Such disgusting things people are saying. And this person here says that we need to bring back political assassinations when asked about Charlie Kirk's death.
I've been talking about how violent revolution liberated millions of people, it liberated women, and then our reading for that day was specifically about democratic dictatorship, where Mao writes about, yes, people deserve free speech, but there should not be free speech for reactionaries and imperialists and like capitalists and all these people who are enemies of the revolution, because that would reverse the progress that was made. So the day after Charlie Kirk died, I was in class. My teacher said, I'll give you 5 minutes for hot takes about Charlie Kirk. I was the only person who raised their hand. I said, I've been saying we need to bring back political assassinations. I don't feel bad, and I don't think that everyone deserves the right to free speech. I think some people should be afraid to express their opinion in public.
Wow. Well, you just expressed your opinion in public, and you'll probably get kicked out of your college for it. Who knows? Here we have this. University of Memphis professors Vicky Haddix and Elena De La Vega, two radical far-left extremists and terrorist sympathizers, both used Charlie's death as an opportunity to smear him and lie about the motives of the far-left terrorists who killed him. I'm not even going to entertain. If you want, you could pause it. You could read what is being said here. I am not even going to bother reading this nasty stuff. Assistant Clinical Professor, School of Communications, Sciences, and Disorders. Well, we know you have a disorder. Trump derangement disorder. Apparently, Barack Obama's weighed in, too. While reflecting on Charlie Kirk's death, Obama accuses the Trump administration of embracing, empowering, and putting the weight of the United States government behind extremist views that are contrary to America's core value. What planet is this guy on? I mean, the Democrats have been saying this for years and years and years. These people just going to gaslight us into thinking that it was Trump?
Wow. I have to recognize that on both sides, undoubtedly there are people who are extremists and who say things that are contrary to what I believe are America's core values. But I will say that those extreme views were not in my White House. I wasn't embracing them. I wasn't empowering them. I wasn't putting the weight of the United States government behind extremist views. And that is when we have the weight of the United States government behind extremist views, we've got a problem.
Yeah, so it didn't happen during Obama's administration, apparently. But it certainly happened during the Trump administration. We got to push back on them. Anytime, anywhere, you see them in a gas station. You see them in a grocery store. You push back on them. You tell them they're not welcome anywhere, anytime, anyhow. Do we have to play the clip again of the extremist rhetoric that's been spewed in our direction during the first Trump administration, during the entirety of the Biden administration? I mean, do you remember that speech that Biden gave with the red lights behind him. Ah! Trump is a threat to democracy! MAGA extremists! Sure seems like Biden was putting the weight of the federal government behind his words. Right? Justifying vengeance against people like Charlie Kirk. Maybe you should sit this one out, Barack. Barry. By the way, can we get the real birth certificate? Please. Spare me, Barack. Stephen Crowder weighing in on, I wonder what constitutes political violence. Let's listen.
Even show you the left right now knows better, but they are trying to lie. It's what we used to call, what we should still call, propaganda. There is more right-wing violence than the left, and they'll even show you a chart. Okay, I will prove to you right now that it's bullshit. Let me show you what's not on this list. What is not included whatsoever as leftist, ideologically motivated violence. All of the violence after the 2017 inauguration. 200 people arrested, far more crimes committed. In case you've forgotten. None of this included in your chart.
Burning cars and smashed windows. A small group of protesters dressed in black, their faces covered, armed with hammers and bricks.
None of this is included in the stat being circulated. This is not left-wing violence. It is not. It doesn't exist.
Today, and more than 100 people arrested.
That is not political violence, according to the stats that you are hearing parroted from the left right now. Why? Because all the charges were dropped. So they didn't include that. All the charges were dropped. Okay. What you just saw was not political violence from the left. Let me give you another one. Do you remember this one? This is not included. And I wanted to laser in on this because I don't think it could be any clearer. As a matter of fact, I don't think you get any cases of more clear political violence, and it comes from the left. Remember the Trump supporter in Portland, Aaron Danielson? He was killed by a member of Antifa. The man's name was Michael Reinhold. And before you run the clip, he was shot point blank dead in the street. Why do we know? Because we have video evidence and he admitted it. And he was shot dead point blank in the street. Why? Because he was a Trump supporter. How do we know? Because it was said on camera. For those who don't remember, what you are about to see, according to the charts, according to the methodology, is not political violence. It is not included. We got a Trump supporter here, bang, bang, dead. Not counted as political violence. Any of you want to trust your institutions? I can explain to you why, too, and the method and why it's fraudulent. I don't want to, though. If anyone out there tells you actually more violence is coming from the right wing, you can say, yeah, but hold on a second. The guy who was shot point blank dead in public for being a Trump supporter exclusively was not counted as political violence. So I don't trust any of it. That's valid. That is the only argument you need to make. The left right now.
What's this? Do I need to play this?
But I thought he should have punched him in the face.
Feel like punching him.
I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school. If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. The full weight of the federal government during the Biden administration. Alex Jones says the left is now celebrating Kirk's murder. That was on September 10th. We are all Charlie Kirk now. Yes, we are. Oh, did you see this one? Here is Don Lemon chasing clicks. Remember when he said that we're just chasing clicks? Here he is chasing clicks, confronting Nancy Mace. Now, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, he is a left-wing troll. And he says of this clip, "Dear media, this is how you push back on the misinformation being sold as fact by Republicans. Take notes from Don Lemon." Really? Well, watch this.
I think the issue is that you guys are saying that it mostly happens on the left. No statistic, no government statistic, no study group, the Cato Institute, the Anti-Defamation League, the FBI, no government statistic shows what you're saying. It's showing the exact opposite, that 60 to 75% of the political violence is committed by people on the right. But yet you, the president, the vice president, the Attorney General of the United States are giving false information to the American people that it only happens on the left and that it is.
False information about Republicans. You guys have called
But there's no facts to what you're saying.
Kamala Harris called us fascists while she was running for president.
The president called her fascist as well.
And you in the media have amplified that. You all have done that. A man was killed last week for having the, quote, national conversation that you want to have so peacefully. He did that, and he was murdered for it. And I live.
You don't know if that's true. You don't know what you don't know what the motivation is. Do you have evidence of that?
Well, they said on the bullets there was fascist commentary on the bullets, pro-transgender commentary on the bullets. Don't give me the bullshit that
Could very well be so, but we don't know if that's true right now.
was a transgender, was a tranny. Come on, let's be honest about this.
That's disrespectful.
Republicans vote to table.
I really don't care because there are a lot of trannies out there that want me dead because I'm a rape victim who wants privacy in the bathroom. The trannies can F off. I don't care. They want to kill me, and they're not going to.
How would you like it if someone called you out of your name? If they called you a B word or any of that, how would you feel?
These people are calling me a cunt and all these awful names online. Are you kidding me? Come on. They are the most egregious, most vile, violent people on earth. They are mentally ill and should be in a straitjacket with a hard steel lock on it.
I think the issue is that you guys are saying that it mostly happens on the left.
Don Lemon, a disgrace. That's why he's no longer on CNN. Oh, speaking of CNN, Scott Jennings, who goes into the lion's den every night, says, "Last night I was scolded for being angry. You're damn right I'm angry. I'm channeling the anger of millions of Americans who are fed up as the left gaslights us about the motivations and continues to call us fascists after Charlie was murdered over this lie." And you just saw Don Lemon gaslighting right there. So he's up against Montel Williams here in this clip. Scott Jennings versus Montel Williams. Let's listen.
Over and Scott just got all angry, got real mad. Face it, it's gotta be this, it's gotta be this, it's gotta be this. Why can't we have a discussion about how long is it going to take for us to figure out a way to come back together?
Just to be clear, I am angry.
Can we just let him finish his thought, Scott?
I'll let
because
you
I
knew it.
Scott, I'll let you talk in just a second. Go ahead.
Could we spend as much time figuring out how we bridge this and come back together again? You know, I used to have a note on my producer's desk when I did my show that was said, we don't belabor what happens, we try to figure out why it happens and come up with solutions. Right now, all we're doing is belaboring what happened over and over and over and over again. We're not going to sit down and try to figure out how do we stop it. If we want to
stop, go after left-wing terrorists. That's actually exactly the conversation we're having. Is we're acknowledging there's a problem.
So anybody who disagrees with you is a left-wing terrorist?
Absolutely not. But if they target a conservative and murder him in brutal fashion, he's probably a left-wing terrorist.
Let me answer your question. Yes, that person is a murderer. We can all acknowledge that.
You said I am angry, and I'm just telling. I am channeling the emotions of millions of conservatives who are angry. They knew Charlie. They loved Charlie. They viewed Charlie as a mainstream conservative Republican voice who talked about issues that millions of Americans believe. He also talked about his faith. And he did it by going to college campuses, which are not normally hospitable to conservatives, and offering his opponents a microphone to have what we always say.
In support of what? In support of what?
Civil discourse.
Not only that, but support of the First Amendment.
And guess what?
He made sure that people had an opportunity to stand in a room and talk.
He was murdered trying to do what we always say. Why don't we talk to each other? So yes, it's not even been a week. So you're going to have to give us a little grace on being angry about somebody who did what you always say that we should do. Let's talk.
We didn't
and he
get
got
much
killed.
grace over.
And he got
more
killed.
than a week's grace over two Michigan elected officials who were murdered. Did we give? Was it 3 weeks before we decided to say that there was something wrong with Speaker Pelosi's husband being hit in the head with a hammer
by a homeless drug addict? I mean, it was terrible that happened. This is not the same kind of case. This is according to the local officials, as Ellie just told us, a clear political motivation of a guy that a lot of us held dear, that a lot of us considered to be somebody who a mainstream voice. He was not an extremist. He was a mainstream voice.
Pelosi's attacker may have been mentally ill, but he was also politically motivated. I also think
Scott just got all angry, got real mad.
Oh man! Remember that woman or man, Maya Fanine? Well, here they are with Elizabeth Warren, the leader of the Salt Lake City armed queers, now under FBI investigation for possible connection to Charlie's murder. Elizabeth Warren, right there. Conservatives are now demanding a thorough investigation into the Utah militia, armed queers for Salt Lake City, after its director, an Iranian transgender, declared sometimes violence must happen. The FBI is reportedly looking into the group. New York Post confirming that.
LGBTQ movement. Some people say that it takes a violent protest to get people to listen. Do you agree, or should they remain peaceful?
I agree. I absolutely agree. You know, I'm a member of the LGBTQ community, and our liberation and our rights came after the Stonewall riots. That's something that a lot of people don't like to talk about, is that, you know, the LGBTQ movement started with Stonewall riots. I wouldn't even be able to be a student at the school if it wasn't for a violent riot that took place within a span of 3 days. So I absolutely agree that sometimes violent protests and really riots and those kinds of loud rebellions must take place for tangible change.
Some people say that
You wouldn't be able to go to that school if it wasn't for the Stonewall riots? Really? Your application would have been denied if it wasn't for the Stonewall riots? And therefore, riots and violence are justifiable? No wonder you're under investigation. Here we have another one. Arkansas leftist Kerry Rollo vandalizing a Charlie Kirk memorial has now been fired, also being evicted, begging for spare change now. Yeah.
He lived as he died, promoting violence. Record all you want.
Well, are you? No, look at this shit. Check it out. Look at this shit.
Man, you're overreacting bullshit.
Yeah, 9.10.
Fuck Charlie Kirk. Fuck Charlie Kirk. He lived as he died.
And now she's got a GoFundMe with a goal of $4,500. As of this report, only $205 has been raised through 2 donations. Don Lemon, here he is, asking questions about Charlie Kirk, but instantly gets puzzled when he receives an answer he wasn't expecting.
You guys are making him out. If you want to know, he shouldn't have died. It was horrible. I don't believe in political violence. But that said, he wasn't a saint or a civil rights leader or icon, as you guys are making him out to be. Said a lot of offensive things. They're saying these offensive things are not offensive. They're not racist. They're not sexist. They're saying these things are just truth, that he was speaking truth. What do you say to that?
I don't necessarily agree that it was truth. With my sis over here, I believe that he was speaking division. A lot of the MAGA language, right, and causing division within our country.
But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
Why do you think it's so hard for them to understand? Because they just can't understand, like, what do you mean he was offensive? What do you mean he's racist? What do you mean he's sexist? Like, they just can't understand why some people are conflicted about what happened. And no, he shouldn't have died, but damn, y'all, as you said, y'all are doing too much.
Yeah, live by the sword, die by the sword. But I think it's hard because, like you said, you haven't walked a mile in our shoes. So sometimes it's hard to understand from another person's point of view, right, if you have not lived that life.
Yeah. It seems always harder, though, for us.
Yes.
It is always harder for us.
It seems always harder, though, for us.
You?
I'm great. Good to see you. What do you think would happen to Charlie Kirk?
It's just messed up, totally messed up. You know, that was messed up. Like, nobody deserved that. He definitely didn't deserve that. He was a good guy.
You think he was a good guy?
I think he was.
Only Kirk
good morals.
Captain Kirk.
The what?
The only Kirk you recognize is Captain Kirk. I don't know Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who it is?
I don't know who that is.
I know who it was. Like, I
only know about him when
all of us have flaws. I can't really tell you what to believe in or how to feel. Like, everybody's having a human experience. Like, why knock him for having this human experience or what he believe in?
Even though even though he says things that are anti-women, black, all that.
I can't judge him for that.
You can't.
I can't judge him for that. But I can use judgment. He didn't deserve that.
Right.
Yeah.
As a human being.
Yeah.
You are very spiritual.
You know, yeah.
He didn't deserve it. Ain't that the truth? Oh, what is this? Americans call for the murder of Donald Trump while calling out Islam. What? What is this? These people are just sick. Just look at these people. George Soros invented the left's Mark Dunny dark money playbook.
Rioters that fast. Yeah, so like you see LA riots and all of a sudden some guy comes by in a vehicle delivering a whole box of commercial grade gas masks. I mean, how does someone get that into the hands of rioters that fast? And does that come from Soros? I mean, tell us where it comes from.
Well, that's what we need to find out. I'm willing to bet a lot of it does come from Soros, because Soros in particular has perfected the dark money charade, the dark money shell game where they move it around through different entities you can't trace. But Jesse, you just think about these riots that began in L.A., that they tried to then spread to other cities that Trump is now shutting down. All of them were planned. None of these were organic. And we know because they all followed the same playbook. Same thing on campuses. The last 2 years, all these campus so-called demonstrations, it's all AstroTurf. It's all fake, because the Democrat Party today is a theater troupe funded by George Soros. The problem is they're also violent. And that's what we've seen in the last week. Once again, we have got to stop the flow of the money. We've got to prosecute those who engage in violence. And we've got to shut down this attempt to divide the country, which the Democrats have been carrying on for years now.
Years now. Tim Walls, 24 Hours. I'm heartbroken and angry about all the people we've lost to gun violence this year. It's time to ban assault weapons. Yeah. So your version of fascism can suppress us? There's a reason the Second Amendment was written by our founding fathers. To secure the free state. Oh, man. Democrats' denial, how Charlie Kirk's assassination exposed their disconnect. Here's Gutfeld.
Racist joke. So Charlie Kirk's assassination has revealed something we already knew. The Democrats have all but left the planet. I'd make a headed to Uranus joke, but in this case, they're the assholes. Consider the trends. Whenever something terrible happens, they prove one thing. Their grip on reality is as weak as Nancy Pelosi struggling to open a bottle of Cuervo. They could never talk about the border because the issue was their policies. They ignored red flags like they were directions on a shampoo bottle. They let more criminals enter than Bonnie Blue touring San Quentin. I know. They were a no-show on Law & Order, and our liberal cities had to be rescued by the very man they hated. Blue cities let mass transit become mass anarchy, with commuters fearing for their lives instead of simply enjoying the scent of fresh urine. With trans, they did nothing until parents, not the press, stood up to the mob and let the crazies know that boys are boys and girls are girls. And no more of that none of the above. And here, with the assassination of a free speech hero, they scramble for cover like cockroaches will do when you shine a light on them. They could just say, I condemn this targeted murder, and just leave it at that. But no, they have to add but, however, and we must keep in mind until their apology becomes nothing more than a shovel for their usual load of
And that's what it is. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This is the sickness that we are dealing with. While a family mourns, the left celebrates. Julia Zhu at Oberlin College wants more assassinations. Memphis professors smear the victims. Starbucks baristas write loser on memorial drinks. But the danger actually runs deeper. The FBI is investigating armed queers of Salt Lake City whose leader met with Elizabeth Warren, same person who declared that violence is necessary. Josh Hawley exposing the Soros money pipeline funding these groups. From campus to Congress, it's one network celebrating death, funded by billionaires, protected by politicians. They weaponized Charlie Kirk's murder to threaten more conservatives. You shouldn't have voted for Trump, they sneer. This is no longer politics. It's targeted intimidation backed by dark money and radical leftist militias. When Democrats pose with terror leaders and act shocked by violence, that's not ignorance, that's complicity. So here's the question. Should politicians who associate with violent groups face investigations too? Yes or no? Sound off below. And if you want to support our work here, just hit that merch shop. Shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, where you can trigger a liberal today. Oh boy, man, we are way past 3 hours and 14 minutes already on this. Damn. I was not anticipating all of this tonight. But as you can tell, I got a lot of pent-up emotion. I just got a friend text me, one of my White House buddies. Haha, he says, just learned I'm headed into the trenches in Memphis with the National Guard. Haha. Literally text me. That's so awesome. I said, I want to do a ride along with them in Chicago. How can I get that gig? Maybe that'll happen. That would be so cool. Let's go. Oh, where are we at now? Okay, we're going to go to Congress now. And we're going to check in on what's going on there. Speaking of my Memphis. Man, I'm starting to get a headache. Sue Couture. Good show, Gary. Tony, brainwashing on a global scale. Raven laughs. Thank you, Gary. Love you, Gary Sunray. Awesome show, Gary. Always a great show. Real news and facts. Okay, I'm going to get up my energy for this next one. A long show to make up for last night, says Karen. Oh, yes, maybe so. All right. Hot Rod Mike. Okay, don't go anywhere. We got one more segment to knock out. Are you ready? Let's go. The nation's capital just got dragged into the spotlight, and what happened was pure chaos. Congress grilled D.C. officials on crime and safety, but instead of answers, America got excuses, meltdowns, and exposed hypocrisy. When asked about keeping fathers in homes, officials shrugged. When pressed on crime stats, they got caught cooking the books. Nancy Mace had to ask the mayor, what a woman is. Well, the city burns. Council Chair Mendelson mocked the National Guard as bored. The same guy who defunded police then called them to his house when protesters showed up. FBI Director Kash Patel destroyed Democrats with hard facts while Rashida Tlaib screamed for the second day straight. This is your government imploding. We've got all the video. Now, a word from our sponsor first. We recently covered a company called Western Star Resources here on the channel, a gold and silver exploration company we believe had serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star just signed an MOU with the American Corp to push forward their U.S. growth strategy, and here's where the timing is so important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, and with the U.S. government making it clear they want more homegrown exploration instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. This is not just about mining. It's about national security, economic stability, and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise, combined with a supportive policy environment, means they've stepped into the U.S. market. They're stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? I would not bet against it. Western Star Resources is making gold and silver great again. Go ahead and check them out by visiting the link in the description, westernstarresources.com, and we appreciate their support of our program. So I just got a message from a friend of mine who's over at the White House. I think we're going to be finding a lot more news coming out of Memphis very soon. He just told me that he is now going to be embedded with the National Guard down there. And I said, well, how can I get on that ticket? I want to take a ride along with the boys up in Chicago. Let's go to Chirac, baby. I'll do it in a Humvee. A Memphis resident come forward, says if you care about getting tough on crime here in Memphis, you got to support Republicans. Trump is finally saying, yes, Memphis matters.
More about the Democrat Party, in my mind, cares more about the criminal than it does about restoring law and order to our community. And if you care about getting tough on crime here in the city of Memphis, you have got to support Republicans, whether it's Senator Brent Taylor that is trying to clean it up at the state capitol, or if it is even the federal government and President Donald Trump, who is finally saying, yes, Memphis matters. We are going to make Memphis safe again because our local leaders have failed to do so. The Democrat Party has failed its constituents. Donald Trump has to pick up the pieces. And who else is destroying them all? Kash Patel just destroyed a Democrat who said America's less safe under his FBI. Oh, wow. Are we ready for this one? This is 24 hours ago.
That's simply not true. If we were not able to do two things at one time, how would we be seizing record amounts of fentanyl? 23,000 violent felons have been arrested.
Time belongs to the gentlelady.
More than twice as many as last year.
Belongs to the gentlelady from Georgia.
Thank you very much. And this request basically is, it is an article from Reuters, which quotes law enforcement officers familiar with agents who once covered child exploitation cases, but now focus on immigration child exclusive. Thousands of agents diverted to Trump immigration track down. Mr. Patel, in the short time I have left, your tenure as director of FBI has been somewhat problematic. Americans are left safe, definitely less safe under your watch. You have gutted the FBI's ability to keep safe from domestic terrorism. You have sent FBI agents to conduct traffic stops and round up hardworking immigrants who pose no danger to public safety. People even President Trump referred to as good longtime workers. Your job is to protect and serve the American public.
Time to the gentlelady.
You have spent your time protecting heinous individuals and using the FBI to serve as a political circus. You at times have appeared unequipped.
Time to the
this country
gentlelady
deserves
has
better, and I
expired.
yield.
Gentlelady yields back.
May I respond?
Sure can.
Simply put, what is it? Are we failing? If we're failing, how are we arresting 23,000 violent felons? Twice as many as this time last year. Are we failing? Because if we're failing, how are we seizing 1,500 kilograms of meth, 25% increase from last year? Are we failing? Because we captured 4 top 10 FBI most wanted from around the world in 7 months. That's more than the entirety of the last administration. Are we failing? Because we put 1,500 child predators in prison. Are we failing? Because we dismantled 300 human trafficking networks. Which is it? You don't like me? That's fine. But don't you dare disparage the men and women of the FBI that are producing record results in historic fashion to protect this country. They are kicking ass for America, and they're going to continue to do so.
Oh, baby, let's go. Oh, here he is nuking Representative Swallowswell.
We've identified 20 of those individuals have been investigated or have had adverse actions. Director, considering that you have identified these people as, quote, government gangsters, will you recuse yourself from making any investigation decisions about these individuals?
Anyone that has been terminated at the FBI has been done
No, the question
they failed
again.
to meet the muster
Director,
in their constitutional
I will
obligation.
work on the audio-visual capabilities.
I'm going to borrow your terminology and call bullshit on your entire career in Congress.
reclaiming my time,
It has been a
Director.
disgrace to the American
Director, I'm
people.
reclaiming my
You
time.
can reclaim your time all you want.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to allow a witness to speak this way?
Mr. Chairman, would you
recuse yourself, Director?
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, would you admonish the witness not to insult members?
Gentlemen,
20 of those individuals have been investigated or have had adverse.
I'm going to call BS on your entire career in Congress. Let's go. Let's go. I know we got a clip here. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is just 5 hours ago. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nick Sortor writes, just took down Jasmine Crockett after she falsely claimed Charlie Kirk's killer was a MAGA Republican. Good God. These people just continue to spew their lies, their disinformation. And that's why Jimmy Kimmel's not working right now. All right, let's watch it.
Grandma says.
Objection attended. I recognize Ms. Crockett for unanimous consent.
Yes, Mr. Chair, since I wasn't allowed equal time to debate, I have a UC. It is from, it looks like Yahoo News. It says, Charlie Kirk suspect's grandma says family is all MAGA.
Without objection, so ordered. Chair recognizes Ms. Green from Georgia.
Mr. Chair, remember I have a UC as well.
We'll recognize you next time. Chair, Ms. Green, it's your 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can assure you that the man, the 22-year-old man, Tyler Robinson, that murdered Charlie Kirk is not MAGA. His family may be Republican, but all of the evidence that is being presented proves that he is a far leftist, very much integrated in online groups that are linked to Antifa. He was in a relationship with a biological male, so-called furry, whatever that is transitioning to be a fake woman. He was not MAGA, not one bit. That is a complete lie, and it's an insult to every single Republican and person that identifies with those type of politics. We will not tolerate it, and that is the exact type of language that is getting many of us death threats day after day, and led to shootings on the baseball field where Steve Scalise was shot. This is what led to President Trump nearly being assassinated this past summer. This is what has led to Charlie Kirk being assassinated. And so I just want to give a warning there. We're not going to tolerate that anymore. Mr. You know, something else we're not going to tolerate is crime. On August 11th.
Objection.
Jasmine Crockett getting put in her place. Chuck Fleischman writing that politicians don't want the National Guard, but everyday people want the help because we're the ones suffering.
Memphis President Donald Trump is still laying out plans to deploy the National Guard to Memphis.
The backlash to the plan continues, but one grieving mother says she welcomes the troops. She talked to Angela Brown about why.
Memphis mom Shay Liggins is fighting for more officers to avoid drowning in pain.
I'll never see John have kids.
get married. Her son, John Ryan Ingram, shot and killed in Memphis. And the suspect? The young man that killed my son was on bail, and he had already shot some people. An unspeakable loss, turning this Memphis mom into an unlikely ally of President Donald Trump. So what you would want to see from the Trump administration is that these National Guard members are in high crime areas where the crime is happening. Yes, I would. And then I would welcome them to come if they're here in the high crime areas. The crime picture is...
Yeah, and that's what's happening. Trump's sending the National Guard in. Memphis residents reacting.
Need help. We need help. If it can save one life, I'm happy with it.
People could be concerned that they're, it's not normal to see, militarized people out in the street.
No, it's not. It's not normal, but I mean, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. They have to do what they can to kind of take back control of the city.
We need
Take back control of the city. People begging for it. James Comer at the GOP oversight hearing on crime and safety in D.C.
I now recognize myself for the purpose of making an opening statement. It's been 1 week since the conclusion of President Trump's historic crackdown on crime in our nation's capital, and the results are in. Since President Trump mobilized the National Guard and took control of the Metropolitan Police Department, violent crime has decreased 39%, robberies are down 57%, and carjackings are down 75%. Over 2,300 people have been arrested. Nearly 950 illegal aliens have been detained by ICE, including 20 gang members from violent terrorist organizations. Sex offenders have been taken off the streets. Major drug trafficking operations have been foiled. Authorities thwarted a planned school shooting, cleared 50 illegal tent encampments, and rescued 7 missing children.
And that's what's coming to Memphis. That's what's coming to Chicago. That's what's going to roll out to other cities. I've never been an advocate for, military intervention, but it certainly has come to the point where Democrats have completely ignored the pleas of the people, and the pleas have reached President Trump's ears. During today's hearing, Representative Glenn Grothman of Wisconsin, a Republican, pressed D.C. officials on what the city's doing to keep fathers in the home. Council Chairman Phil Mendelson replied that no government can force couples to stay together. Well, okay. Here's Washington, D.C. Mayor Bowser opening statement.
Ranking Member Garcia and members of the committee. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm Mayor of Washington, D.C., and I'm joined by the Chairman of the D.C. Council, Phil Mendelson, and the Attorney General for the district, Brian Schwab. I'm pleased to be here today to report on the state of the district. First, a bit of a primer about my hometown. As you know, in 1973, Congress passed the District of Columbia Home Rule Act, creating a local government with an elected mayor and elected city council. We are represented in this body by a mighty warrior, Eleanor Holmes Norton, but she does not have a vote, and we have no representation in the Senate. D.C. residents are full-blooded, tax-paying Americans. We are a donor state. We give more to the federal government than we get back. We have all the responsibilities of citizenship, but not the most important benefits: representation and full autonomy.
Oh, spare me. Spare me. Trump's cleaning up your house. The House hearing on D.C. crime went off topic as Nancy Mace asked the mayor about LGBTQ issues that led us here.
We noticed the D.C. No, you're literally the mayor of D.C. and you don't know your own code of laws.
Well, I don't know
All right,
them
one thing we
verbatim.
noticed the D.C. code struggles to define is the term woman. So Mayor Bowser, what is a woman?
I'm a woman. Are you a woman?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I'm a woman. You're looking at one.
Okay, good. No, you're
Section.
literally the
Really,
mayor.
that's where we're going now. Representative Eli Crane called out the D.C. Council Chair Mendelson for saying the National Guard looked bored.
Being president. Mr. Mendelson, you said in criticism to the National Guard being present in D.C., you said that they looked bored. I'm going to ask you a question, sir. Would you rather have National Guardsmen standing posts around D.C. looking bored but driving down crime or continue to be ranked in the top 10 in the country in violent crime?
Well, as I was trying to say, depending upon how you look at the data, we don't even place in the top 25. Now, in my testimony, I outlined
that's definitely not the reporting that I've seen. You guys are ranked number 7.
U.S. News and World Report, you can see that study.
All right, moving on. Councilman Mendelson.
Oh, we got that clip from Rashida Tlaib, too. What's going on here? For the second day in a row, Rashida Tlaib has a mental breakdown in Congress and gets into a screaming match with Byron Donalds. Gunter Eagleman says this needs to go viral. It shows just how insane Democrats are.
So regards to, but I think it's important, Mr. Chair, just like in D.C. Home Rule was one out of black freedom struggle in the fight for civil rights, we can't be passive right now. So nobody over there should take anything we say so personally as if we're attacking them. No, we're attacking a process. We're not attacking people here. And I think it's really important. We need to stand up against this fascist takeover. That's not a bad word. It's a fact. And here in D.C. and across the country, it is so incredibly important, Mr. Chair, that this committee does not allow rhetoric that defames or paints Washington, D.C. in a way that you all haven't really truly seen. You're just reading it. No, you're just reading it or something off of some.
Will the gentlelady yield to a question?
Yeah, I think it's really important.
Will the gentlelady yield?
No, I don't yield. I don't even have time. I can tell you.
Your time's expired.
It is expired, but Mr. Chair,
nice.
but you all live here, and you're not telling people the beautiful parts that you do see in our nation's capital. And no, it's just wrong how we're doing it.
Chairman, I think it's insane that the gentlelady doesn't have an argument, but she's going to refer to me and some of my colleagues.
Mr. Donald,
we were from the Third Reich. This is insane.
You're going to look at 14, 15-year-olds as a bunch of criminals?
It's insane. Do I look like a member of the Third Reich to you, Ms. Tlaib? Is that what I look like to you?
You're the one taking your voting card.
Is that what you think? Is that what you think? Is that what you think?
No, that's unethical.
I think it's radical and I think it's insane. And I'll respect everything that you say. But to say something like that to myself and a lot of my colleagues is way out of line. It's way out of line. It's way out of line.
Regular order, Mr.
Way out of line.
Regular order.
That's okay. But it's okay, right?
That is not how it goes.
It's okay, right?
You hold yourself accountable before you talk about
Hold myself accountable. Hold your own self accountable. How about that? Hold your own self accountable. How about that?
Free DC and make sure you vote with your own voting card. Don't be giving it to somebody else. Regards to, but I think
Rashida Tlaib. I can't believe she's still in Congress. D.C. Council Chair Phil Mendelson struggles under Jim Jordan's questioning on allegedly reclassifying crime to fudge stats. Why not call it stealing?
Why come up with this? What's taking property without right? What's taking property without right?
Oh, that would be theft.
Why not? Well, why not call it theft? Why come up with this designation? In fact, that's what he says. He's asked the question.
Congressman, I can't
the solution from
case.
Mr. Zabowski was to come up with this TPWR, taking property without right. What is that? Taking property without right is what again?
If you're speaking to the particular charges, I can't speak to that. And as I've said several times here, I can't speak to that particular case. I think the issue is whether there is widespread...
I'm asking a simple question. You have a classification for crime called taking property without right. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It means just what it said, if that's what the crime is.
Well, why not call it? I mean, what would a normal person call taking property without right?
Are we talking about what the criminal code and the specific
No, I'm just talking
are?
about that statement that you have that's grown 500% in the last several years, that specific category of crime. I'm just wondering what does that exactly mean?
So if we look at collateral data such as ShotSpotter, we know that gunshots are down 29% from 23 to 24.
Taking property without right was the question. What does that mean?
I've already answered you, sir.
And what did you say again?
I've said that if you're speaking to a particular offense in our criminal code, I cannot speak.
Shut up. It's word games, man. All of it. If you got value for this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This is what Democrat leadership looks like. A city drowning in crime while officials play word games and cook the stats. Jim Jordan caught Mendelson red-handed manipulating crime categories to hide the truth. Glenn Grothman asked about broken families. They shrugged. Nancy Mace had to waste time asking what a woman is while carjackings spike. The hypocrisy breathtaking. Mendelson voted to defund police and called them when protesters showed up at his mansion. He mocked the National Guard as bored while citizens begged for protection. Meanwhile, Kash Patel delivered facts. 23,000 violent felons arrested, double last year. When Democrats claimed America was less safe, he torched them with data. Then came the knockout to Swalwell. I call BS on your entire career. Memphis residents are begging for Trump's help while D.C. burns. So here's the question. Should failing city leaders face federal intervention? Yes or no? What city should be next on the list? Let's have a conversation in the comments below. And if you want to support the Next News Network, hit that merch shop down below. Shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Wow. 3 hours and 37 seconds today. Wow. That was exhausting, wasn't it, Bills? Nice. Night bong, bong, ba-bong, bong, bong. All right, guys. What we witnessed today wasn't just news. It was the complete unmasking of the enemy within. From Antifa's terror cells confessing their fear to Jimmy Kimmel's career imploding to the battle over Charlie Kirk's legacy. Every story connects to one truth. The establishment is crumbling and they know it. So think about what we expose. Antifa admitting in writing they're losing their ability to mark conservatives for death. Their Corvallis cell published their own death warrant confessing Kirk's assassination blew their cover. President Trump designated them terrorists while Laura Loomer prepares for the raids. The fear in their words is real because they know justice is coming. And Kimmel? He learned you can't mock murder patriots and keep your platform. ABC suspended him indefinitely while Democrats panicked. Swalwell said it should shake every American while spilling his own lies. Schumer demands resignations. Why? Because their propaganda puppet got put down. When you lie about an assassination, even Hollywood has limits. The conservative movement, though, fractured as disputes erupt over Kirk's legacy. I don't normally cover internal drama, but this demanded attention. Candace Owens claims powerful forces try to control Kirk's message. Others say Kirk called her views demonic. While his widow grieves, these public battles rage. Bottom line is the family deserves peace, not public disputes over Charlie's beliefs. We expose the sickness of the left celebrating Kirk's death, from college students calling for more assassinations to professors smearing the victims to baristas writing loser on memorial drinks. The FBI is investigating armed queer Salt Lake City, whose leader met with Elizabeth Warren. The money trail leads directly to Soros, and the connections are undeniable and being investigated. And finally, D.C.'s crime hearing turned into a circus. Officials got caught cooking stats while citizens suffer. Mendelson mocking the National Guard after defunding police and calling them to his house. Nancy Mace has to ask what a woman is. Rashida Tlaib screaming across the chamber. Meanwhile, FBI Director Kash Patel destroying Democrats with facts. 23,000 violent felons arrested. Double last year. His message to Swalwell, I call BS on your whole career. Thank you to everyone who sent in super chats and rumble rants today. Your voices were heard loud and clear. $209.95, blowing past our target of $100. Thank you. This movement isn't just about us talking. It's about us standing together against the lies, the violence, and the corruption. So tell a friend about the Raw feed. Share the stream, text it to bypass the algorithms. And if you want to support the mission, hit the merch shop, link below. Show them you stand with real journalism, not regime propaganda. The war for America's soul is happening right now. Charlie Kirk gave his life for this fight. Antifa is running scared. The establishment media is collapsing. Democrats are melting down. And patriots are rising up. Thank you for joining the Raw feed. We will see you on the next show tomorrow night. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and never stop fighting for the truth.